Yo, what it is, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday afternoon show. I forgot, because we've been doing Raw Rant on Mondays, when a video ends, it automatically goes to, like, the scene. So I was waiting for it to go to our scene. And I was like, oh, that's right. I have to click it in this program. Cool. Hey, welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday show. We like to fondly call it the Pickle Party for all you old school fans. Shane, how you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Good. We have one heck of a show for you guys today. I am telling you right now, we got some. Not only are we going to talk Star Trek Episode 7, but we're going to be talking about all kinds of really interesting things. We're going to be talking about maybe a new Star Trek show coming out called Starfleet Academy. We're going to be talking about we have so many things to talk about. We're going to be talking about maybe a little Gwyneth Paltrow a little later. We're going to be talking about some Grace Randolph. We're going to be talking Doomcock with all the weird drama going on. He's trending again for this thing with Robert Meyer Burnett, which I think is hilarious. So we've got all that to talk about. Bro, we have some really amazing things coming up. Just a couple things I want to share with everybody here really quick. We have it's not official yet, so everybody keep this on the lowdown, okay? It is official. It will be official next week. But us here, the Popcast guys and the Salty Nerd podcast, together we are doing this event, a Star Trek Picard Season 3 event, okay? It's going to be taking place in Las Vegas. It's going to be all 10 episodes back to back to back to back, right? And it's going to be one long day. It's going to be at a great theater where you can recline, eat, all that good stuff, enjoy the whole day. It's going to be a festival. I think it's going to be called the 10 Forward Festival. And we're going to be doing that next month. So listen, tickets aren't available yet, but they will be coming out. And we might have some, Star Trek people there. I don't know for sure.
You don't know.
Can't say nothing yet. But anyways, stay tuned for more information. If you're in the Southwestern United States, this is someplace you want to be probably in April. So anyways.
Yeah, Grace should report on Doomcock R&B drama. She'll probably get it wrong, but she should.
So we should just assume that whatever she says is the opposite, right?
In the words of James Gunn, the sky is blue and everything Grace Randolph spews is bullcrap.
Well, before we get deep into the business today, we need to first pay the bills. And we need to talk about our amazing sponsor for this episode, and that's EKSTER Wallets.
EKSTER.
Listen, guys, I don't know if you guys are in the market for a new wallet, but the next time you are, like, I know mine, I usually use mine until they wear out. But the next time you are, I want you to check out these EKSTER Wallets. Okay, it's they're very futuristic looking. Brian's going to pull his out right now so that we can look at it. And it holds up to 12 cards. It's like a smart wallet, basically. It's got this RFID protection, so somebody can't come by and scan your information and steal your credit cards. It's also got a tracking feature, so you can track it. I lose my wallet at least once a year, and thank God my wife usually finds it. But so yeah, definitely, you guys are going to want to check this out. The next time you get a wallet, definitely give them a look. Here's how you do it. You go to EKSTER Wallets. You go to shop.ekster.com/thepopcast. You're going to get 25% off your order when you use code thepopcast, and we'll put that link in the description below. So give them a check when you get a chance.
Yeah, here, fun life hack too. You can take your EKSTER Wallet tracker and drop it in your wife's purse on her way out. You can always know where she's at.
EKSTER does not support
just slide it in her purse. All right.
EKSTER does not support. In fact, I really hope they stop watching that read-in I just did. They're like, oh my God, Brian from the Popcast just gave people ideas on how to track their wives.
I'm totally kidding.
You can see like EKSTER in like a lawsuit, like, in 5 years where somebody like killed their spouse.
No. We got a super chat from Play the High Note. Hey guys, loved all the episodes up until this week's episode. This was the most Kurtzman tone Trek episode ever. Please tell me the tone lightens up. And here's the deal. I told you guys last week, this episode's going to be a lot of information. It's setting up the final act. So it's going to...
Yeah, we'll go through it. And like, we're going to go through it here. The tone, yeah, there's a lot of drama here. And like we've said before, Star Trek in the 90s is a little bit different than it is now. we're more focused on, I mean, look, we're never going to get back the TNG feeling, it's never going to happen. But what we do enjoy is the characters are, these are our characters 30 years later. And I don't know how you guys, when you guys started watching TNG, but like I started when I was 14, I am now going to be 50 this year. So I've grown along with these characters over the years. And so my life experience mirrors a lot of the things that are happening. And so maybe that is another reason why I love it so much. But I just feel like the story is really fantastic. I feel like even though there is some really dark elements to it and there are some down things, in the end, just remember that hope always succeeds in Star Trek, in good Star Trek. So we wouldn't be reporting what a great season this is if you were going to get to the end of it and not like it.
Imagine that. Imagine like, it's awesome. In the last 2 episodes, it goes like, they take the Titan to like the Discovery timeline and they join the fight.
Right. No, but here's the sad thing is a lot of people are like kind of worried about something like that. And I get why they're worried about it, because that's kind of what's happened in the past. Things have started out okay, not this long. No Star Trek show that we haven't liked has gone 7 episodes still being good and then messed us up. It usually happens after like episode 2. So, right. I mean, if you're feeling it and you're enjoying it, I mean, Vadic's story, oh my God, I can't wait to talk about that. But before we do that, I think we had a couple other things. Yes, this Monday coming up on Raw Rant, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You're not going to want to miss that. We have Captain Shaw himself coming on the panel. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
The Stashwick.
Todd Stashwick. He's so generous with his time. We appreciate him so much. He's going to be coming on the show, and he's going to be answering all the fan questions after 7 episodes. And so you won't want to miss that. I love that.
The Stashwick.
That graphic image.
Stashwick is making his debut on Raw Rant.
Right. And so we've got, of course, we'll have Robert Meyer Burnett and the Salty Nerd guys, probably Matt Kadish and maybe Dave Cullen, hopefully will join us also on Monday. So it'll be fun.
We got a super chat from Doomed, huh? Midnight's Edge claims that Secret Hideout owns the new characters in season 3, and a continuation without Kurtzman isn't possible. Do you all know if that's true?
Okay, so yeah, so all of the characters are owned by Paramount CBS. Period. The end.
Yeah, that's all.
Secret Hideout doesn't own anything. They might get revenue share for the stuff that they've created in perpetuity, but they don't own any characters. That's just not the way it works. And let me clear something else up. Love the guys over at Midnight's Edge. They're wonderful. I don't know where they're getting this info. We've been hearing a lot. Somebody told them one of their, and to be fair, I think they said it's a rumor. I don't think they said it's 100% official, but they're reporting that Alex Kurtzman has been renewed through 2030. So just some reality checking on that. As far as we know, that's not the case. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense because his contract is already through 2026. So he's already got that extension through 2026. There's no reason for them to extend him 3 years early they just wouldn't do it, especially with the financial problems that they're having right now over at Paramount. So it's likely if they do renew his contract, then it would be probably midway through 2024 is when that would happen. But to give you guys,
and it wouldn't be for 3 or 4 years. Like it wouldn't just be, here's another quick 3 years.
Another 3. I mean, they could do small extensions. No, they could. It absolutely could. But
it's a
they would
random
have to
number, though.
It would be based on like a plan, right? Going forward. And right now the plan is being kind of messed up. So like Discovery's out, right? And now we've got the show we're going to talk about today, Starfleet. I don't want to get too much into it, but the focus really isn't on Alex Kurtzman and what he does with Star Trek. The really focus is how can we encourage Alex Kurtzman to hire showrunners that will make good Star Trek? Because we know that Alex Kurtzman isn't making the shows himself. He's really he's the business arm of Star Trek. So he's making sure everything's on time. He's hiring the people. He's okaying the ideas, right? But it's the showrunners that really come up with the ideas and sell the show to him. And then he says, okay, go make it. I mean, in all fairness, as much as we've been frustrated with a lot of Star Trek in recent years, it's Alex who told Terry to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? So it's not, so what we're trying to say is we shouldn't be so hyper focused.
Go do whatever you want. I'm going over here.
Yeah, we shouldn't be so hyper focused on Alex Kurtzman as much as we should be focused on, okay, who's making these shows? Like, we're going to explore who's making the next Star Trek Starfleet show, and we can get an idea of what tone or what that might be going forward. So, you know, I think that's what the focus should be on.
Yeah, and to be fair to Midnight's Edge, it's like they report on rumors. Like the difference between us is like we don't report on rumors. We report on only facts. So like,
I mean, sometimes we'll get something if we feel like it's strong, and
if it has to be really strong, right?
But to Tom and Andre's credit, they might feel like it's strong. The problem is that it's just, and who knows? I mean, I guess it's possible that it did happen. I'm just telling you guys that that's not what we've heard, and it's not likely at this time based on everything going on. So,
yeah. To be honest, from my perspective, anyone that runs that show is not going to work out because it's in that just horrible timeline.
Yeah, I'm trying to, you know what? I'm trying to just keep an open mind, and I'm going to be like, look, I'm going to do the same way we do every Star Trek show. You're going to get a chance until you prove that it's not good, and that's it. And then we're going to give you the honest to goodness truth. Now, if you have history, you have to take that in a little bit of consideration.
Right.
But I'm not going to prejudge people on their history. I believe a leopard can change its spots.
Right.
You know, I do.
Sure, but if they're like, Michelle Paradise is leading the new Starfleet Academy in the 29th century. We're like, okay.
Right. Well, that would give us some information, but it's not Michelle that's running it.
Right.
So it is somebody else, and we'll go into that. But, you know, you're right.
It's Mark Hamill.
Like, take history. Also, it's going to be really interesting. It's really interesting to see how Discovery season 5 goes. Like, there is a lot of, you know, and I don't think that it would be a complete correction for every Star Trek fan, but I do think that they recognize that in season 4 there were so many things that just were not properly done well, you know, in the season, that they've admitted that they've made a bunch of corrections for season 5, changes to the way they do it. I don't know if it's going to make everybody happy that's not happy with Star Trek Discovery, but they are aware that there's something happening. So we have to wait and see what Star Trek Discovery season 5 is before we can really even put more into Starfleet Academy, which is coming out in 2024. So, yeah.
Right, but fool me 4 times.
No, I don't. Listen, you can't fool me at all. So here, you can't fool me. Like, I'm not going to like go, it's going to be great, everybody. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like, well, I think probably it's might not be good, but I'm not going to rail against it. Yeah. I'm not going to encourage people not to go enjoy it or watch it. As a result, when the episodes come out, we will judge them fairly and honestly, episode by episode, and give you, you know, exactly what.
You know what? And here's the deal. Either way, it's going to be a good time for everyone, for you guys. Think about it. Either the show is like surprisingly good and we're like, oh, look at that. Or we get to talk about it and make fun of it for an hour every Thursday. So, sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And that's true. Like, we can break it down, and listen, once again, I want to go back to the whole thing. Like, nobody's trying to make bad television out there, right? You know, so misunderstood people who do a poor job, they still work really hard to create the product. And I don't want to forget that, you know, it's not lost on us lately how easy it is for us to come on here and completely tear down somebody's product in 5 minutes that they spent like 3 years working on. And so, you know, we want to be honest about our criticism. And if it's bad, we're going to tell you it's bad, but it's never going to be like, wow, you know, that person is horrible because of result. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to do that. So,
but we'll always be honest. Hey, super chat from John Burns. No, it's who's not picking up dark matter. Damn it. Yeah. No one. Dark matter is, there's not going to be another dark matter. I don't see it happening, but you know what? That clears up Joe to maybe work on some Stargate. Who knows?
Yeah, we would love Joe to be able to finish off his dark matter, but you know, just kind of behind the scenes, it's just not really. I don't even think Joe's confident that that's going to happen. But you know, he's been tweeting a lot about Stargate lately.
He's been tweeting a lot about Stargate, way more than average.
And I promise you, he's going to know before most of us do.
And we've been following Joe for like 6 years. So, like, we're aware of how much he tweets about Stargate, and this is like out of control.
Well, he was having like he was tweeting a lot about it for a while, and then he completely went away. And now lately he's been really bringing it back and asking, what kind of show do you want to see Amazon? You know, very interesting types of tweets, I think.
Yeah, they're like almost like they're like he's asking questions to fans about what to do and what to pitch to Amazon. But that's a rumor. So here's another thing real quick is I love Joe Malazzi's food tweets. He'll tweet like a tomato basil cookie. What do you guys think? Like every so often,
it's because you're hungry all the time.
It's some insane food choice, and almost everyone's like, "Hell no!" And I'm always like, "Yes, I want to try that." Almost every time, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll try that. Why not?"
He's got you hooked, man.
Yeah, he does. I do. I love Joe Malazzi. He's awesome.
I can't think of any other things we have. Oh, we do have. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it, we've got James T. Kirk is back video that's out right now. So if you guys want to know what we think Section 31 might be up to with James T. Kirk's body at Daystrom Station, give that a check. Video out, and then I think we have more coming up. We've got some really interesting videos. We can't put them out now, but we've got like a Chris Monfett full interview, like hour-and-a-half long interview that just does all the background of Picard season 3 and like everything, as well as one with Terry Matalas at the end of it. But we can't air them till the end of the season because there's too many spoilers in it and it would ruin it. So we have to wait. And those will be coming out like right after the season's over. So
yeah,
I think that's what we got.
All right, man. So rock and roll, Big Daddy. Let's you want to jump into the
yeah, let's do what people have come here for. Spoilers ahead, folks. So just
spoilers ahead. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're getting ready to like smash the keyboard and yell at us for the Tuvok thumbnail, we weren't gonna put Tuvok on the thumbnail. Right. We actually produced these things a lot of ahead of time, but then we saw that like official Star Trek, and the Ready Room put it all out there this morning.
So Paramount, StarTrek.com, and Tim Russ, Tuvok himself, all tweeted out this morning and put out on social media that Tuvok is back at 6:30. So I know a lot of you don't like to come on and you haven't seen the show. Now, the good news is a lot of people across the pond, a lot of people in Europe actually got this episode early. They didn't have to wait the extra day, so hopefully nobody's going to be upset. Listen, yeah, we aren't the first ones to drop it, but once it starts coming out, it would not be to our benefit to leave him off the thumbnail, so people can see it. But yeah, don't kill the messenger. I know on Twitter, Trek Central and a bunch of other YouTubers were complaining that people were mad at them, and we're like, look,
Johnny, mate, why are you putting
blame Star Trek
on the thumbnail? The spoiler on the thumbnail. All right, here's the deal. Yeah, blame them. They have way more reach than we do. So,
well, yeah, even but we waited 12 hours. So,
right, we waited 12 hours. They waited 4. So,
I would say if you are like really watching the show and you care about what's going on, and if you can't watch it, I get it, but just you might want to stay off social media the next morning for sure.
Yeah, didn't Terry say something about that recently? He said something about this. I saw it on Twitter. He was like, listen, if you guys don't want to be spoiled, you need to stay off Twitter for the next 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like if you're not watching it, I mean, and look, I think we're all adults. We all understand that like everybody's not going to wait for you to watch it. It's just not how it works. You have to like, oh my God, I wanted to watch that. You ruined it for me because I was looking for something else on YouTube. I'm sorry. Maybe skip YouTube until you get a chance to watch it, or make it a priority to watch the show if you're really enjoying it,
Yeah. I do. I looked into that. The episode actually released early, according to our Discord. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
If you are not in our Discord, the link is in the description. It's a great place, full of scum and villainy, but
and good people too.
And good people. It's like Tatooine meets 10 Forward. Anyways, they were posting in there at like 9 o'clock at night that it was available on Amazon Prime overseas. So it looks like they might be fixing the whole not available in the UK thing for 2 days issue by utilizing Prime. So
well, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for them to have to wait, and it doesn't make any sense why they should have to wait. So I mean, there's nothing in the world keeping them from making it available overseas at the same time. So,
right. Yeah.
What is weird though is they should really. I wish they would stop releasing them at midnight. We need to get to the bottom of why they release these things at midnight Pacific Standard Time,
I know.
3 a.m. Eastern.
I know why.
I don't know.
I know exactly why.
Why?
And the thing is, like, I wanted to explain it to someone on Twitter who asked, but it's such a complicated thing to explain. You can't explain it in 100 characters. Bottom line is, it's not actually releasing Wednesday. It's releasing Thursday.
Right.
Pacific Standard Time. The moment the clock turns Thursday, it's their website is releasing the episode. You get it?
Got it. But they set up the time.
Well, no, they just set up the date. It's a Thursday release.
Could they set up a time too? Could they make it like, a time that everybody can see it, I guess? Because what happens is you wake up in the morning, you open your phone, and you haven't had a chance to watch it, and boom, there's spoilers.
So I actually thought about that too. And I went back to our previous shows that we covered when they were all streaming. They all released the second the clock turned that day.
No,
I don't know.
Right. No,
I don't know if Paramount Plus has the ability to actually give it a time. I think they have. I think it's a date. That's it.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Well, I mean, it'd be cool if they came out and said, "Look, guys, sorry about the midnight releases, but that's the only way to get it out to you. All to get it out to everyone at
the same time." And that's important because remember Peacock.
Oh, yes.
Peacock has time and day release where they can actually set the time. Bro, it is not consistent. Right. I managed to get Quantum Leap at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon before it even aired on television.
Yes.
Because on the East Coast, it had already quote unquote aired and they were releasing it on Google Play.
I do prefer that it all releases at the same time.
Yeah, it's better that they release at the same time than different time zones getting it all jumbled up because
I agree.
That's confusing.
But I got to tell you, it's not great. Staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning every Thursday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning is not cool.
Yeah, my wife was like, my wife went to Mexico today, right? We live in SoCal, and she's going to Mexico to pick up cheap stuff. It's a whole thing, but anyways, she was going to leave in the morning, but when I told her I had to stay up and watch these TV shows, she's like, "Oh, I'm just going to leave now then."
Awesome. Anything to get away from having to watch Star Trek with you. I love it.
Right. That's what it was. She goes, "Oh, I think I have to leave now." Oh, I invited her to our 10 Forward Fest. She's like, maybe. She's not even super polite. She doesn't want to watch 10 hours of Star Trek with a bunch of sweaty nerds in a movie theater.
She don't want to watch 1 hour of Star Trek.
She just want to watch 10 minutes of Star Trek, right?
Listen, it's going to be comfortable. There's going to be like recliners. There's going to be food. Listen, it's going to be a paradise for anybody who goes to watch it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All 10 episodes back to back. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. Okay. That said, let's jump in to the review. I don't know why I said it that way. My bad.
To the review.
I'm channeling my inner Grace Randolph. What are we doing today?
I think you're obsessed with Grace Randolph. I think you secretly love her, even though you seem to not be able to stand her.
She's not ugly, but I think she's cute. But
really,
I just like the way she talks drives me nuts. And then on top of it, always being wrong is making me crazy.
Kind of funny to watch people.
We're going to talk about it later on, but like she is literally driving me nuts and she doesn't even know who I am, which makes it even more infuriating. All right.
Like I said, you're like borderline stalker level coming. It's happening. Like,
bro, listen, that's what the judge said. That's not how I see it. Okay.
All right.
She is cute though. You gotta admit, she's cute.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
She's a nerd. All right.
I get it, but her personality overwhelms. Yeah.
Oh, personality is so rough. All right. Yeah. Here we go. If you don't know how this works, it's pretty simple. If we like something, we give it an up vote. If we dislike something, we give it a down vote. And at the end of the review, we're going to average those two numbers and come up with an official podcast score. We are reviewing Episode 7, Season 3, the final season of Star Trek Picard, titled Dominion.
Well said.
Thank you. I practiced that in the mirror.
Okay, cool. All right, with only 3 episodes left, guys, we are approaching the climax of Star Trek Picard Season 3, and things are moving quickly. So We're going to get into this. Last week's episode ended with Geordi and Data being reconnected with the TNG family, and Riker being captured, only to find out Vadic already has Deanna. We also learned that the thing the changeling stole from Daystrom Station was Picard's body. So with Frontier Day now imminent, what is our old crew going to do to stop whatever's about to happen, save Will and Deanna at the same time? And so let's go.
Dun,
What do we got
dun,
here first?
dun.
I love the intro. Where are we at here? Oh yeah. So I love this. Like, one of the things about this show that I absolutely love, and I want to give it a vote, upvote right away, is I love their intros. Okay, so Terry and the team have done these gorgeous like space shots through this entire show, and then we get some sort of music or something happening. In this scene right here, we get this like eerie whistling.
Pop
and
goes
it's
the weasel.
actually Pop Goes the Weasel,
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry.
And then it kind of goes over all this space junk floating around, and we realize that they're here in the Chintoka scrapyard.
Chintoka scrapyard.
Chintoka scrapyard. So the Chintoka, this is what's really cool. This is why I love the way they do this stuff. You guys may not know what the Chintoka thing is, right? So the Chintoka scrapyard is a leftover from the Chintoka war, Chintoka battle, which happened during the Dominion War. There were 2 battles that happened during the Dominion War at Chintoka. The second one, the Federation lost all but one of 312 Allied ships. It was a major defeat.
Apparently it was 3
during
blind
DS9.
mice. My bad about that, guys.
What would you say?
I said Pop Goes the Weasel.
No, that was the old song. This one's 3 Blind Mice.
Oh, real quick, Big Worm for Super Chat for $20. Thank you, Big Worm. The reason it is releasing in the middle of the night, they got to spread out the load of everyone watching it. It doesn't have to do with the date. It has to do with the burst bandwidth needed. Source, I design systems.
That's great.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Big Worm, thank you. That makes so much sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I just saw on the news that Rumble crashed because some big YouTuber started a stream over there, and I guess they had like 400,000 people watching at the same time, and Rumble couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, not everybody is Google. So, and I think Paramount now, it is interesting that he mentions that, and that's really great information. He designs them. I trust his opinion. So why is it that HBO can? Do they not have as many viewers? So because some of the other streaming services are able to do that.
Well, Netflix is like literally like designed from the ground up for that purpose, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I suppose Paramount Plus should be too, but maybe Paramount Plus just doesn't, they didn't put enough system reserves or resources into it.
Remember, they started out as CBS. So it was actually a CBS app, All Access.
And it was actually the same app that was on Roku, and they just monetized it. They didn't even change the system.
Right. So what happened was CBS was still counting on their cable stuff, and the app was really just for people extra stuff. So when they first created the app, they probably didn't create it with dynamically enough. So when Paramount Plus took it over and rebranded it, they probably didn't change the skeleton. And I bet that's why they're having problems.
Yeah, I would like to know more about that, because I'm a systems nerd, but I don't know exactly how it works. I do know that like bandwidth is hyper important, and our own websites have a dedicated servers, and we have the same problem when it comes to like a lot of people coming from like one of our videos to buy a t-shirt or something. It often just like, if we have a really popular video and a lot of people go to that site at the same time, our servers struggle, and like they lag, and they sometimes just restart.
Yeah, right. Kenneth LaRoque super chat here. Thank you, Kenneth. Longtime member. Love you, man. $5.50. So what video are you guys releasing on Saturday the 1st? It's funny you mentioned that, Ken, because somebody gave us a suggestion for an April Fool's video.
Yeah.
And they said, listen, you guys should like just say that like Legacy Trek is happening, like, and that Paramount has greenlit it, and then and just get everybody excited about it, and then go, oh yeah, sorry, April Fools. I'm like, you realize people would kill us.
Yeah,
right?
no.
We would not survive.
People will come to our house.
So yeah, we won't be putting out that video. So we'll figure out something fun. I'm sure
we're gonna do something fun, but we don't know what it's gonna be yet. We had a lot of ideas going on. Every year, and this plagues us, Shane. every year I want to do an April Fool's thing every single year. And every year we're so busy around this time that always becomes like not even secondary. It's like maybe if there's nothing else to do for 12 hours. You know?
Right.
Because that would be hilarious. But, dude, I'd be mad at myself.
You know, as angry as like the world is right now with everybody, it's like, I wonder, like, people are really going to take April Fool's jokes wrong. You know, like, you can see people like imploding, you know?
Oh, my God.
But we'll figure out something. Good.
Oh,
That's a good
God.
one, Ken. Thank you.
Archmage has the best idea. Okay? I'm going to dress up as Doomcock and release a Doomcock video praising Picard.
Oh my God.
Season
That
3
would be
of Picard
funny.
is fantastic.
Let's save that for after the review.
All right, we'll talk about that in the members.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have to cut this, guys, for the clip. Damn it.
Yeah, who cares? Leave it in.
All right, back for this. Yeah, Shintoka Scrapyard.
Oh, so yeah, so this basically this is a great Easter egg, Roddenberry, we like to call it, for DS9, and it's all connected to the Dominion War, which is, I mean, think about it. Picard season 3 is essentially, and we especially learn in this episode, it's an extension of what happened to the Dominion War. We have this this branch of changelings who are kind of, you know, doing their own thing outside of the Great Link, and they're angry. And so it makes sense that they would be hiding amongst a scrapyard full of ships that were destroyed during the war of which is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Really great touch for the production team. And this episode was most of the Picard season 3 episodes. I do think they have like a writer, but they really collaborate as a writing team on a lot of their stuff. So you don't go like, hey, this is like one person's episode and boom, it's all of theirs. But this is one of those episodes where it actually was they give credit to one writer, Jane Maggs. They also have like, anyways, Jane did a really great job this episode, and we haven't talked a lot about that person. And so hopefully going forward, we can maybe get him on the show to talk about some stuff.
Yeah. We got a super chat from Jeremy Snyder. You want to read that for me?
Remember last April Fool's when I deleted the entire live comment section? My falling asleep was epic.
Is that what happened?
All I know is that Jeremy is one of our wrenches, and it's fun to see what he does in there.
Okay. I just had an epic idea. Every time there's a Roddenberry, I'm going to pop up Roddenberry's face right here.
Oh, I like that. It's a great idea.
Roddenberry alert!
Miss Eugene.
I'll have to make an actual animation for this at some point. This is fun. Roddenberry alert. Okay, moving on. And the big reveal.
Yeah, so we get this scene. Well, it was kind of cool because you heard it before you saw it. And I think that's what's awesome. When you get to the Titan's bridge, you see Seven sitting in the chair. And you're like, oh, she's sitting in the captain's chair. But you heard a voice that she's talking to. And I'm like, oh, crap, right. I know that voice.
Right.
That's familiar. And then when it comes around to the view screen, you see it's Tuvok. You're like, oh, my God, it's Tuvok.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, I love Tuvok from Voyager.
Yeah.
So
not a fan of Tim Russ, but I do love Tuvok.
Well, you know, listen, Tim Russ has got his own opinions. That's all I can say.
That's true.
He's an activist. Let's put it that way.
Right. So big upvote for me though, because
me too.
Just for the Roddenberry alone, or the cameo alone, I love Tuvok. I've always loved Tuvok. He's one of my favorite things about Voyager. Him and Seven. So seeing their relationship on screen again, you know, I don't know if we're gonna ever see that again. So this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's more than just like a member berry or fan service. A lot of people go, oh, fan service. No, I mean, he's playing a specific role. So this is Captain Tuvok, okay? And he's involved with Starfleet security, right? And also, they talk about some things that happen. So Seven mentions the Calto game they played. She's trying to figure out whether he's a changeling.
Right.
Now, remember, we had the Calto from episode 4 in one of the episodes, actually in one of the quarters.
Right. In that moment, when he answers her correctly, and he's like, "I enjoyed our games of Calto." I'm not saying it right. And if I recall, you won a lot, and the Voyager music starts to play in the background. Big old upvote from me, dog. That was
and
amazing.
7 smiles.
Right.
And you're like, oh, it's the real Tuvok. But this is what I love. This is where my upvote comes in. My upvote comes in because 7. This is what you got to love about 7. And if you give me the upvote, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What I love about 7 is that she's like, yes, this is probably the real Tuvok, but she's like, but I don't trust that shit.
Right.
Like, she will not, just give in to anything. So she continues to test him, even after that, even knowing he might be the real thing. And then she, of course, finds out that he's an imposter. And then we get a smile, like this little, like a minuscule smile that you would never get from Tuvok.
Right.
And you realize it's an imposter.
Dude, when he breaks bad, it's awesome, though. Because he's like,
right.
Oh, man, it was great. That's another upvote from me. That was what a strong way to open up the episode, because the episode does have a lot more exposition this episode. But this was a strong opening.
Right. And the reason why it's not, and I'll repeat again, the reason why it's not just a member-berry fan service, because it has to do with the story. If they had just thrown on like an old character from somewhere and they're just like having a random chatty conversation that has nothing to do with the plot, nothing to do with the story, then that's the fan service that people complain about. This is not fan service. This is moving the plot forward while giving the fans something that makes them happy. So it's right. I think it's important.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Tuvix. That's a great point.
No, we can't. It can't be Tuvix. But Plato Tuvok here. That's what I'm calling him. Plato Tuvok.
Plato.
They're using this channel to talking to each other to start tracing where the Titan is, and all of a sudden, Geordi and Captain Shaw can't turn off the tracker that's happening on them, and they're desperately trying to do it. Otherwise, they're going to find him. And then Picard comes at Tuvok, or Changeling Tuvok, and he's like, tell us where Riker is, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the same theme we've gotten through this entire episode is, oh, you guys are going to be dead. And we kept hearing that over and over again from a lot of the Changelings. You got a lot of revenge talk in this episode. And we get this interesting, sickly looking Riker. It was a good scene. Nice, and got the energy up. The juices flowing around. I'm
already dead, Picard. Good.
Yeah.
It's good. Real good. Okay. And then the intro.
Well, it's funny because at the end of that, real quick, you don't have to go back, but Geordi basically says, I mean, there's a little bit of defeatism happening here. Geordi says, maybe we should just accept that there's nothing we can do about it. And then Patrick Stewart says something to the effect of, we're running out of time. So it actually kind of ends us on like a little bit of a desperate note going into the episode, letting us know that they're not in a good situation at all. They're running, they're hiding constantly. It's not good.
Right. I just read something in the chat that made me laugh. Yeah, you know what I like too is he was like, we can't keep hiding in abandoned shipyards or whatever. And like they're running out of space. So they got to make a decision fairly quickly on what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Yeah. Okay. So what's going on here?
Okay, so in this scene right here, you want me to break it down?
Yeah, break it down.
So we're in the operations room, and we learn here that Worf and Rafi are at Exoport. They're monitoring Starfleet security, and they've confirmed also, because we didn't get the information we wanted from the Changeling, they've also confirmed that there's no mention of Riker in Starfleet security. And we also learned that Worf and Rafi are on their way back to the Titan. We don't get any Worf and Rafi this episode. No Worf, no Rafi, no Riker, no Deanna this episode. But I don't feel like we miss them.
No.
Because the action is so good.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the ship. Like, what have we been asking, though, for like 5 episodes? We constantly said, can we just get back to the ship?
Right.
Can we get back to the ship? Well, we're on the ship the entire episode, so.
Definitely. So Geordi's having a hard time. You're a little forward on me. So Geordi's having a hard time keeping them hidden, and Picard's running out of time. Beverly says the Changelings are unique, and maybe they can use that uniqueness against them by finding a tool that will help them root them out. That's like her idea. But she's also concerned, and this becomes a theme in this episode, she's concerned about crossing the line and end up, in order to defeat them, having to do something like the virus that Starfleet did originally, which was almost like genocide and not a good thing, right?
Right.
Although in war, it's hard to tell, like, how far do you take something, right?
Yeah, like I that episode, I actually watched it recently when we were doing the Kirk video, and the thing is, Odo, not like it wasn't cool to infect Odo, your ally, in order to infect the Great Link. However, the doctor, Bashir, whatever his name is, does say, look, I don't think they meant to kill you or infect you with symptoms. I think the purpose was for him to be a carrier, because they're in a war that, like, the Starfleet was, like, we were losing.
Right.
We were losing the war. So you're dealing with this enemy who's not playing the same rules as you. It's not like they're playing by the same rules. They can shapeshift and be whoever they want.
Right. So it's more detailed. And when you look back through the lens of, oh, well, it was wrong to destroy an entire race, it's like, well, was that race trying to destroy you? And at what point is there a morality clause? You know, and everybody's got a different thought process on it. So I think in this episode, we get this theme of whether it's right to do whatever it takes to save yourself. And, you know, I know in my life it is. I'm going to do whatever it takes, you know, to make sure that my survival continues. And we get that unique perspective coming up. I don't want to ruin it yet, but we do get that perspective from the changelings as well.
Right. Yeah. Archmage says, do you commit genocide in order to prevent your own genocide? Do you kill it in order to prevent being killed? Yes. If someone came into my house and he wanted to kill me, I'm going to kill him first. Right.
You do. But as a Starfleet principle, as a Federation principle, I don't. That's a bigger question that's not something that they typically have had to deal with in Star Trek. And so I think it's an interesting dynamic that they're talking about it, trying to figure out, you know, at what point is it okay to do whatever it takes to win?
Well, I mean, so is the enemy doing whatever it takes? Like, that's the question. Like, when are terrorists following the Geneva rules of convention? No.
Right. No, that's a good point. I mean, listen, that's not an argument that we can settle here. You know, everybody's going to have a different viewpoint on it. Ultimately, and this happens in the episode as well, it's all about survival. Laura ends up telling us that.
Yes.
And so let's move on with a little more.
Laura's take this episode was actually great.
Yeah, it really was. So we get to Data here, and we find out that Alondra's been making progress working on Data. I like this. She's an engineer. Geordi's an engineer. You know, I like that she's there with Geordi, helping him work on Data. That's part of the whole next generation thing that we've been talking about. They've identified the source of the problem, and as they turn him on, we get somewhat the Data we remember. He recognizes that they're not on the Enterprise and asks about the scimitar. Okay, so if you guys remember the scimitar, that goes back to the last time Data was actually alive. I'm not down with the whole Picard season 1 Data stuff. I don't feel like Data died at Nemesis.
Yeah, so here's the deal. And this is why Picard, and even though I didn't like Picard season 1, I'm with you. This is why it can exist, and my headcanon can also exist in the same space. Because the version of Data we had in Picard season 1 was just a copy on a memory stick.
Well, it was this version of Data, right? Because this is Soong we're talking about here. So isn't this the same version of Data we had?
No, because this is the version of Data that he pulled out of before.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, this is before's Data, and the Soong Data. Which Data did Soong have in Picard season 1?
That was some kind of copy or whatever. That was a copy of a copy of some engrams. Like, they had this like really crazy.
I know, was it from B4's copy? Was it? Where did that come from?
Someone needs to tell me. I don't think it was. I think it was
it was just weird. He was like in this machine. Anyways, I tend to like.
He was like a program. He was a program running on a computer.
It was strange. So this to me feels good. So Nemesis, the last thing Data remembers, he's awake, and the last thing he remembers is, what about the scimitar? Because on the scimitar, he sacrifices himself to save Picard, blows up the scimitar, which was, if you guys recall, that was Shinzon's warship, as well as a massive Thalaron radiation-based weapon. Okay, and Data sacrificed himself to destroy it. He shot it with a phaser. The thing blows up. Picard's safely off.
Yeah, he teleported Picard against his will. Remember?
Yes, he did.
That was awesome. That was the one good thing about that movie.
And here, look at this. And I love it. Like, this essentially kind of like retcons everything that's happened before.
Right.
If the first thing Data remembers is what happened at Nemesis, then that's in our in what we like about this is the next thing really for us that's happened to the TNG crew since Nemesis.
Right.
So upvote for me here, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna upvote too. It's not even like, oh, we're just ignoring season 1. It's more like that just doesn't fall into this story. The great thing about this, someone did mention on I think on our Discord, another plug of our Discord. I think it was our Discord. Well, they mentioned, or maybe it was Reddit, but they mentioned like, how would he know about the Scimitar if he copied himself into before going to the Scimitar? Well, he also has Before's memories too. And it was conveyed to Before at the end of that movie what happened to Data.
That is a good question, though. I mean, I love the way Star Trek fans look at things, and they're like, well, wait a second, wasn't he destroyed? Yeah, that's good. Now, it's cool when another Star Trek fan can kind of explain it and bridge the gap, and then whether we believe it or not or agree is kind of where the fun argument takes place. So
right.
So continuing on here, so it looks like, so here's what's happened. So it looks like the Lao and the Soong files. So Lao, Data's daughter, and Alton Soong, who's got some of his memories in here.
And by the way, guys, Shane said Lao, not Lore. Lao. Just for all like the 14 comments that yelled at us about Lore not being Data's daughter. He said Lao, not Lore. Sorry, go ahead, Shane.
I say Lore before?
No, because there's similar words. We had a bunch of comments of people yelling about Lore not being his daughter.
Lal. So Lal is Data's daughter, right? And her, personality was downloaded into Data.
Right.
So, but what's interesting is that Soong and Lal's personalities are, the way it's described is they're information files.
They're partitioned or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, but they don't seem to have like the control factor. Like they can't be in control. So it looks like that Data and Lore are partitioned, but they're like the C drive or whatever.
Drive. They're the main drive. Like they're in their own
the process.
They're like the partition C, partition D, and they're in control of the operating system. This is awesome because this is also how a lot of people are. Like everyone's got a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, right? Like you have the yin and the yang. That's what yin and yang means. It means that there's a little bit of good and bad. There's a little bit of bad and good. Like nothing is black and white. I love like this dichotomy of the two characters and how it's literally represented here on screen as right and left brains. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And I think what's interesting is so Soong, what Geordi hypothesizes is that Soong was hoping that the two personalities of Data and Lore would merge and create that more human personality that Data always wanted. So I think the idea was Soong to have, because remember in the video from last episode, he says it's a whole lot of Data. I think he hoped that this would be mostly Data, and Lore would bring in the human qualities that he needed, that Lore had. But he was afraid. The reason why a partition exists is because he was afraid that Lore would be so strong that he would basically eliminate Data.
Right.
And then we would end up with just Lore. So they have to figure out how to, they want to get Data working again so they can solve some of these mysteries. But in order to do that, they might lose Data.
This was the answer in season 1. It was one neuron from Data's exploded body that Bruce Maddox somehow retrieved.
Downvote that. Can we downvote that from episode 1 again? Look at Picard seasons 1 and 2 was Picard's story and some alternate thing. To me, this is the first story after.
I just thought it was like a dream that Picard had. That is Chateau Picard.
And look, it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you go back and try to pick out some of the things on it, look, we got Q in season 2. Made me happy to see.
We did get Q. That was good.
Made me happy to see Q, man.
I'm always happy when I see Q.
I agree. Agreed.
Yeah. I hope that when I die, Q is looking over my body as I hopefully ascend and not descend to wherever the afterlife is.
Brian, Q is not real unless you're talking about the guys over in the comedy group Q.
Wait, Q's not real? Who have I been praying to all these years?
Q's not real, bud. All right, just
son of a. All right,
that's great.
Go ahead. Right, so he's worried that he's going to take the partition down and Laura's going to take over.
Right.
It's like having Windows 7 and Windows 10 dual boot. Thank you, Melinda. All right.
All right. So now we, after this scene's over, we end up over on the Shrike. Oh, and this is kind of a really nice moment here, or not a nice moment. It's an emotional moment. And this is, guys, this is the thing that I wonder if some of the people who are complaining about Picard season 3, the thing that bothers them is that the fact that the characters have emotions, because I know that was a big problem in some of the old Star Trek shows, is like there was people with constant like mental stress and drama. And so I get that, but that was the mental stress and drama taking over the episodes. Like that controlled the episode. It wasn't the characters. And so you've got Picard here who Data is basically saying, help me, help me. And like right now he's saying, help me. And it's like tearing Jean-Luc apart. And, you know, that's a very real human reaction to an actual problem that's happening and not some sort of, you know, mental issue. Listen,
emotion is good when you're telling a story. It's not good when it becomes so prevalent that the ship is having an emotional.
Right. Yeah. Then it becomes about
when the ship has to take a mental health day because it's having issues. That's when you've gone too far.
Right. So all of you guys that are on the fence and are saying, "Oh, well, this is just more of the same stuff," it's not. So yes, this is an extraordinarily emotional moment. You know, Picard is under duress because his friend, this android that he loves, is in distress and is basically being tormented. And so he's like, turn it off, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And if you need to be able to separate those two things, and you need to be able to identify the difference between the two things. Is it forwarding the story? Is it forwarding the characters? Or is it are we just sitting here crying in our own, wallowing in our own misery for no reason whatsoever? There's a difference. And if you guys aren't sure what that difference is, just keep coming here and we'll keep telling you.
Yes. Kapla.
Kapla. Okay, over on the Shrike, weird demon Vatican is back. I got to tell you, man. It looks to me, that looks to me like a tri-tip. I have yet to remove all the fat off.
No, yeah, it's an untrimmed tri-tip.
It does. It looks like
the most efficient way to buy meat. It's a $3.99 a pound untrimmed tri-tip from Stater Brothers. That's what exactly that is.
No joke. I wanted to grill something as soon as I saw this.
I had the same thought. That's crazy. The minute I saw that, I'm like, do I have meat in the freezer? Can I defrost something? Really think about
sponsored by Albertsons, right? Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
God. I mean, it's a testament to the graphics. I mean, it's literally it's a body part, so it makes sense.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is so we're 7 episodes in, and we have no idea what this is yet so far. And I'm so glad that we have mysteries with which to still ponder. This time he tells like a weird story. I kind of had a hard time understanding what he was saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my copy that I was looking at when I did the preview early on. But I had a really hard time kind of understanding him. I didn't have subtitles, but what I got from it was she was saying like, look, you know, we can't find him. We're having a hard time finding him. And he's like, you have to think of the Picard with Picard as one unit and separate themselves. So it was like a changeling, like, maybe analogy.
Yeah. The thing is we had screeners and they don't have subtitles and they're really low quality. But yes, you're exactly. He was basically saying the analogy was like he was trying to get her to get over her own idea of the way things work biology wise.
Right. Now, in the last time he talked to her, he was basically like, look, I'm going to kill you and everything that you own, and I'm going to destroy your ship. And this time he was like a little more reasonable with her, like still like, look, fine, Jack. But it was like a little bit more like, maybe he sees that her threads are coming undone.
I don't think so. I don't think it was reasonable. I think it was like, it literally said, your physiology is not as special or as complex as you think. He was like, I think it was threatening to just like rip her apart.
That's a good, well, I don't think, okay. What we learn in the episode is that her physiology is special.
Right. But but it is telling it that even though she thinks it's special because of what she's gone through, he'll
still destroy her.
it's still gonna kill her and her whole family.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting, and I'm really glad that they kind of keep that a secret going forward. So that was really good. And you see,
can we start calling it Evil Odo? I like that, by the way, Bill.
Evil Odo?
Evil Odo, even though that's not what it is.
No, Odo is. I love Odo. I can't think of an evil Odo.
That's true. If the actor had not passed away, he would have 100% have been in this series.
I would actually suggest some things if I hadn't already seen the show, but there's a couple of characters that I could imagine it being. But I'm not going to say it because it could ruin things for you.
It's Tuvix.
So,
it's Tuvix.
It's not Tuvix.
That's the video. We need to make a video for Saturday where we explain our Tuvix theory.
No, we're not.
Please, can we do that?
April Fools.
Can we do a Tuvix theory video on Saturday?
I feel like we've been talking about it for years. It would just be like,
bro, okay, how about this? I'll never talk about Tuvix again if we make a Tuvix theory video.
Okay, I might do that then.
Okay.
If you promise and swear, like you got gag order, no more Tuvix.
In front of God and all of our fans here. If we release a video on April Fools about our Tuvix theory, I have a wild Tuvix theory.
I don't know how it relates to April 1st.
I will never, ever speak about Tuvix ever again publicly. I will still do it privately under my breath in shallow remarks. Tuvix.
It's a deal. It may not go out April 1st. You were done wrong,
Tuvix.
It may not go out April 1st though, because I don't see how it's related to April Fools.
Because because the theory is impossible.
Would it be like Tuvix is back on the thumbnail?
No, Tuvix is the villain of the series.
Not, or what?
He's the secret villain of this series, bro.
Oh my God, Tuvix is the villain of Picard season 3.
Tuvix is the big bad.
If Janeway was like the main person in this series, then I would be totally down.
Oh my God, that'd be so brilliant, though.
Yeah, if Janeway was like the lead, that would be absolutely. If this was like Janeway instead of Picard, that would be yes.
Tuvix wants his revenge.
Right. Yes. I would totally be down with that.
That episode, like the dichotomy, like you put that episode up against the Warp Salamanders episode, right? Threshold.
Oh God, that's so bad.
Take the Tuvix episode and Threshold and put them against each other, right? Oh my God, Tuvix looks like fine art.
Oh, I know. Yes, it
because
does.
it was like the story was so the audience, everyone was ripped apart. They didn't know what to do.
I know.
Meanwhile, Salamander Paris and Salamander Janeway are banging on a planet somewhere after.
I try to forget that episode all the time. You constantly remind me. Okay, let's move on.
I always tell everyone, like, every series of Star Trek, every series has bad episodes. So
yeah.
Like there isn't. I've watched every episode of Star Trek ever made. There isn't a single series that is perfect through and through. There's not.
No. I'm still mostly enjoyable, except for the Salamander episode. That was absolutely horrible.
I actually have a theory about that too. I think it's one of the greatest episodes of television ever made.
Don't make theories about things we don't want to talk about.
It's scientifically accurate. Okay, they went forward in time, full reverse. It wasn't de-evolution. It was time is not linear. It's secular. They evolved so far that they devolved.
Yeah.
This is why Shane doesn't want to talk to me.
Like, what are you talking about? Okay, that's
Shane good. Will call me and he'll call me about something about Shane. Like, all right, I gotta talk to you about this. What's the plan for this? I'm like, yeah, listen. Did you see about this Tuvix theory? And he's like, no, I can't do this today, man.
That sounds like me. All right, let's keep going.
All right. We must have the boy.
Look at that piece of steak. Piece of meat. Got to just trim some of that fat, some of those eyebrows off. So she gets her hand back and she sits. Now she's brooding. I'm telling you, man, this guy's pushing her over the edge 100%. She's already like on the edge, but he's just pushing her over the top here. And you can tell she's very frustrated at the end of the scene.
Yeah. Her hand is yelling at her.
Damn you. I want you to cook me like a steak. I don't know.
I said medium rare.
I'm so sorry, Gordon Ramsay.
What are you doing, you idiot? Sorry. Now, this was interesting. Back on board the Titan, what did someone call this? La Crusher?
Oh, LaCrush.
LaCrush. So LaCrush, the Crusher, LaForge shippers out there. They're in an elevator. He starts hearing her thoughts.
Yeah, but before he hears her thoughts, did you catch it at the very beginning? As the scene from Vadic rolls into this scene, there's a female voice.
Oh, yeah. I see it on
and
the subtitles.
Female voice, I believe what it says, it was really hard to understand, and I had no subtitles when I was looking at it, but I believe it says here, let me connect us.
Let me connect us.
Yeah, it was kind of like really quiet. And then it goes into this turbolift scene where really weird stuff starts happening, right? This is things we haven't seen before. Now Jack's like hearing people's thoughts.
Right.
So he starts to hear Sydney say, like, is he flirting with me? You know, he's kind of charming, you know, but he should touch my hand first. And then he touches her hand and she's like totally weirded out.
Yeah.
That just happened. Like,
I'd be weirded out too. First off, why are you touching my hand, bro? We've known each other for 5 minutes. Real quick, Brian Harvard for $1.99. Thank you for super chat, Brian. Am I crazy or does Brian sound like Chris Griffin? You're not crazy. Yeah. I actually do the voice of Chris Griffin.
No, it's not. He does the voice. He is the voice of Chris Griffin.
I'm the voice of Chris Griffin. People do not know that, but everyone thinks that it's Seth Green. But in reality, Seth Green hires me to do it for him. Plus, I have a speech impediment. That doesn't help.
That's honest pop culture. Can you give us a good Chris line? Do you have any?
Oh my God.
No, that's not the right one. It's his sister. Knock it off. What's wrong with you? Wow, really, guys, Brian Harvard, you really put Brian on the spot here, dude. Right? You like put him in a weird spot. He said something totally like unacceptable.
Too much Rule 34. Oh my God. I'm gonna stop now.
Moving on.
Thanks for that, bro.
Thanks for the break. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so he just like casually touches her hand in the most creepy way. And I mean, this is a new power for him, right? He probably wasn't aware that he could have this ability until now.
I mean, I don't even know if he recognizes it as a power. It seems to be just happening automatically. I don't think he's enacting it. You know, look at him. He's asking on this, and then when you put it all together, he's like, "What are your quarters like?" Like, it could almost be like super creepy if you put it all together, you know. And then of course she gives us the whole, "I'm an ensign. My quarters aren't very big."
Like, right. He's asking her what her room looks like. I'd like to come see what your room looks like.
So the whole thing is like, even though you know people are kind of into this little romance thing, the stuff going on here with Jack makes it a little creepy. But
I mean, to be fair, he even says, "I'd like to love to hang out sometime if you're." No, he's been with his mom for like 24 years on a ship.
That would make anyone want to like hook up with the first girl.
That's like prison, and then this pretty girl with a nice smile is giving you eyes. You're like, oh, okay. All right, cool.
Or not giving you eyes, and you're just like, yeah, or whatever.
There's no holodeck on our little medical ship, you know?
I don't know why you just said that. What was like?
You know why I said that. You know why I said that. That's why. That's why you're questioning it. Because if there was a holodeck on that ship, what else do you need?
You go full Barkley? Is that what you're saying?
You go full Barkley. I'm so glad holodecks don't exist because I would never leave.
All right. Keep going here. Keep going.
All right. My bad. Yeah. And that's
so with the scene where it happens, then his eyes turn red and she's like creeped out. He sees the vines down the corridor.
Yeah, that is a cool shot, by the way. I'm gonna upload this. Okay.
Now we're on the bridge. Jack is trying to talk to Picard, but we have some other things going on. Apparently, I think this is the moment where they keep getting incoming sub messages, and they keep ignoring them because it's basically Starfleet vessels trying to hunt them down. But then they realize they get a code from one of them that's like I think
a compromise code.
What was that? What it was? A compromise?
Yeah,
a compromise code.
It was when an officer is sending it, but it's under distress.
Right. They called it something very specific though. They have been. Yeah, it's a compromised prefix code is what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a signal, and they realize, oh, wait a sec, this is coming from Riker. And it's coming from the Shrike. Oh my God, Vadic has Riker. So that's how they figure it out.
That's awesome. So Riker's alive. Don't worry, guys. He's not a changeling yet.
Or I don't know. I don't know why you just said that, but okay.
Because that's indicating that he's setting the compromise code, which that's something only he would know. The changeling version of him wouldn't know that.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we know that whatever's sending that. Well, no, that's not true. If they got to him, he could have found out about it could be, because if they got to him, just like they got to Tuvok about the Calto, he could learn about that code.
Yeah, but Calto is different than like secret Starfleet codes. I feel like that can come up in casual conversation.
Well,
so let's say you're talking to Tuvok in the mess hall, and you're like, "Oh, you played Calto with 7, huh?" Like, indeed, I did. She beat me frequently.
But that's not the way they intimidated. They made it sound like they took Tuvok and got that information out of him. So could they get this out of Riker?
I don't know if you could get. I don't know.
And changelings know stuff. It's not just from what you learn talking to them. Like they get knowledge somehow, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a lot of people talking about that, and a lot of people are on the fence. We don't know 100% how the changeling link works.
Well, we're gonna go into that more some other time.
But. Yeah, Son of John for 999. Thank you, Son of John. Question for the episode: what is Jack Crusher? Who is the big bad? Vadic's talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. Yeah.
Are they going to do a Genesis on the body of Picard with Jack's DNA? Project Phoenix, anyone? Ooh.
Good. All good. Actually, those are all really good questions because we do have a lot of those. And I think that's what's cool about the season. There's only 3 more episodes left. And there's still so many questions. So we know that number one, we know that they don't leave any stone unturned, right? We've said that already. Right. So you're going to get answers to all your questions in the next 3 episodes.
Everything's hyperlinked, right? They were partially telepathic in DS9.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll learn more about that. Maybe we'll do a separate video going into it. I'm not sure. But in this scene right here, Jack is basically having this thing. He's telling Picard, look, why don't we just like give me up so I can get Riker back, so we can get Riker back. Riker was good to me. I'm not worth it. I'm worthless. Like I've always had like a bad life, or I've always felt like something was wrong with me. It's just not worth like just give them to me. Give me to them.
Yeah, and I'm gonna upvote this because this part of his character right here is first off is classic. I'm not worth anything. I'm worthless. I am the unlikely. I am the aren't. And use me to nullify the people who are, right? That mentality is what shows that regardless of how he feels about himself, he is worthy.
Right. His character, he's a multi-level, there's so many layers to his character. He's not just a straw man. That's what's great about this character. A lot of people are like, oh, Picard's son. I mean, Jack's bringing game to the table,
right?
And we have to appreciate that in all of these scenes that we get. And basically Picard tells him, look, none of this is your fault, and then it gives Picard this idea. He now has a plan on how to get Vadic.
Mm. Okay. Plus, also Jack thinks he's dying. Like, does he see?
Well, he's got the disease.
Yeah, he's got the disease that Picard has, but does he also see that Picard lived until he was in his 90s?
I don't know. It's tough when you get bad news. Like sometimes some people, everybody's different. Like Picard internalized it, right, and said, "Whatever, I'm going to go about my life." Some other people might be more like, "Oh my God, my life's over." So it's tough to say.
I gotta say, all I'm saying is if my 90-year-old grandfather was like, "Look, I have cancer and I'm going to die in a couple of years," and you got the same thing, I'm like, "Oh, cool. So I got to like 90s.
Well, but Jack's also having all these weird things happen to him. So maybe he thinks like,
maybe it's accelerating.
Right. Because granted, he's having some weird things happen. So that's unexplainable.
That makes sense. That's a good point. That's a good point. He probably thinks he's dying faster. All right.
So we end up in now. What's funny, we don't typically get this, but in this episode, it actually gave us a title as to where they were, because we see the Titan. It looks like it's been disabled right here. The title is Open Space Alpha Quadrant. That surprised me a little bit to see that. And like we had earlier, the shipyard. Normally, you wouldn't have like a location just when you're out in the middle of space.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was included.
Yeah, it's like they want you to. It's almost like they want you to know they're in the Alpha Quadrant.
Well, I think they also want you to know that they've moved. Maybe they were concerned that if they showed the ship like this, the last one we saw when they were in the shipyard or in the wreckage, maybe they wanted to see that they had moved, and maybe that's why that exists.
I see. All right, and apparently the Titan's warp core is offline, emergency power only.
Yeah, so Picard really went through. Yes, Picard really set it up, because they even created a subspace message, a pretend subspace message from another Starfleet vessel somehow. I'm not sure how they did it, but they were able to do that to help trick Vadic into thinking that they were, come get him.
Yeah, come get me.
They also mentioned a Vulcan warbird, which in this they mentioned that some of the radiation or something coming from the disturbance could be from some Vulcan warbird nearby.
Is that the VSS Taplana? Is that what it's usually?
Is that what it says there?
I don't know. It says VSS Taplana. Yeah. That's cool.
Vulcans, yeah, makes sense.
All right. All right. So here we go. Shrike is here. The Shrike versus the Titan.
Yeah. So they decide to board. They've got, and right away, this is great. Like they come on board and then she looks up and she's like, oh, and like Jack's right in front of her. Exactly what she wants.
Oh, hello, Jack. Good to see you again. There
is this weird, like, she almost tries to like soothe him, or it's almost like she's trying to tell him, look, you need to come to this better place with me.
I thought you'd be taller.
It's really, I thought you'd be tall. That was actually a funny line, meaning his reputation precedes him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she tries to take him, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm out. I'm taking off."
So they set the trap, and their goal here is basically to force field everybody, since they actually do have power, and they successfully managed to do it. They trap everybody. They trap Vadic. In the process, Jack and Sydney get trapped, and you've got these changeling people around them, and they aren't able. Geordi isn't able to beam them out because Lore has taken control of the transporter system.
Lore,
that Lore.
All right, hang on, Sydney. We're gonna transport you out of there. I love
that.
Geordi.
Kind of sounded like him a little bit.
Yeah, I try to emulate voices. I'm not very good at it, though.
No, it was good.
All right.
There's the scene from the. Did you see the scene from the trailer?
Yeah.
It was Lore.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. I love it. I'm up playing that just because even though I've already seen that, I still liked it.
I know we've seen it so many times. Yeah, we got to pretend like we haven't. I voted for me too, because you're right. It was a great scene. You realize, wait a sec, we don't have enough trouble. Vadic's trying to take over the ship. We have changelings all over the place. Now we got to deal with Lore.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
This is great. I love this scene. So this is another upvote for me. Beverly comes in and she like breaks out her phaser. Like she's like a mama bear that's pissed. Yeah. Right. This is the lady who's been trying to like kill her son. And you can see that from Beverly, you're getting this like, how she feels. Like she's balancing the fact that she's supposed to do no harm. Like she says here, I took an oath to, I just want to kill this thing.
Yeah.
And Vadic seems not very perplexed to be trapped right now.
Right. Yeah. Vadic is in control.
Well, she doesn't. Well,
in her mind, she is not.
In her
trapped.
mind, she is. Yeah.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is I'm not sure why she was so calm because, yeah. Anyways, we'll get there.
Right. And that's when he said, "To me, make a near perfect double of me."
Yeah. So Picard does this. This is actually a really great thing. So they decide they're gonna like interrogate her, right? And Picard's like, "I know exactly what you guys are doing." You know, he's got this whole like thing, like, "I know, you know, you're going to clone me so you can get into Frontier Day." Like he thinks he's got it figured out. And then we get the bam. We get the wham, which is the, oh wait, there's a changeling story here.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, you know, when you're going through it, you're like, you get this like scene of her, or you get this scene of like test tubes, and you're like, what the heck's going on? And it's breaking back and forth between what's going on with Geordi and Lore and Data and Jack and Sydney, and then what's happening here in this room. And then we get the story of Vadic. And this is a great upvote for me. This character goes from being a mustache twirling villain, right, to a full-fledged, layered character who is still the villain,
right?
But we understand why.
Right.
And the backstory is that essentially during the Dominion War, Starfleet Section 31, I guess we should be more specific, Section 31 captured changelings, 10 of them, Vadic and 9 others, and basically took them and did experiments on them. Tried to, you know, injected them with things, tortured them, gave them pain. And what they were trying to do was they were trying to create a weapon for Section 31 / Starfleet,
right?
Which basically they could just, you know, use this to change into any species and cause chaos. Like that was the goal of it. And so we now know why Vadic is like mentally broken, because during that torture, she was basically, you know, tortured to the point of like insanity. She takes the look. The reason why she looks the way she does is she took the look of her torturer. So awesome. The doctor who was doing the stuff was, this character, what she looks like. Apparently that character was also whistling Three Blind Mice, because that's why she's constantly whistling it. And so she remembers all of those. It's like this strange PTSD that's happened and occurred. Right.
Right.
So we find out it's not just a faction of changelings that were like, boo hoo, the Dominion War, you know, we didn't like that it ended the way it did. It was actually that Starfleet is the reason why, you know, was actually torturing these changelings. And it's the reason that they're advanced now, that they can hold their shape because of the tests they were doing on them. They used human DNA apparently, and it infused with the changelings, and now they have the ability to be even more human when they change.
And that's why the changelings look so different when they change. They no longer look like that weird metallic thing. That's why they have that this new form, because it's like there's human DNA in there. It's fascinating. Foxhound 4.99. Vatican giant henchmen immune to full phasers?
So that's a good question. They were. I don't know if they had them on kill. I don't know what the settings of the phasers were. I don't know why Beverly. I know that Beverly and Jean-Luc were struggling with whether or not to kill her. And I think they had kind of come to the agreement that it would be better for her to be gone, because, you know, A, she's going to keep trying to kill her son, and B, there's no redeeming this character, right? And so I felt like that's where they were at. But, you know, was the phasers on kill? I don't know, because they did hit her when she was sliding away. You know, we'll try to find out, you know, asking one of the production people, Terry or Chris or somebody, see if we can find out what the answer is. Because I did actually have that same question as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have just, like, I would make the worst, like if I was playing an action hero, right, or a villain, I would make, everything I did would make a horrible story, because I would just immediately kill whoever was in front of me. There'd be no dialogue. There'd be no exposition. I would just be like, oh, was I supposed to ask him questions? Damn it.
Well, I wonder, I don't know. I know that it seems like they experimented on all the changelings, but they definitely experimented on this one. So does Vadic have maybe some more, is a more powerful changeling than the others? I don't know.
I think Vadic wasn't Vadic able to like give her changes to other changelings though, right? There was like 9 changelings, I believe, on the station.
Right, 9 other ones. So that, yeah.
So maybe she's able to merge with the other changelings, and their physiology changes too.
That's what it seems like. So maybe there are 10 changelings that are a little more powerful than the others.
Right. Interesting. All right. Chaos. He loves the chaos.
Yeah, so now Lore's taken over the transporters. He's taken over the force fields. Like, he has control over the systems, and they want to know why, and it's because Lore loves chaos, and we know that. We actually get a really great speech from Brent Spiner just before he lowers the force fields that basically says, you know, you, me, the changelings, you know, we're all of us are just trying to survive. You know, and he says, let me even the playing field, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
And he drops the force fields.
Oh, I love this scene. And I'm going to upvote this.
I noticed you upvote every time he has red eyes.
No. It's just when cool stuff happens.
Oh, the scene. I got it. Okay, got it. What happens next, you're saying?
Right. Yes.
Well, the last time he had red eyes, you said the same thing. You're like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to upvote it. So I wasn't sure.
Because every time he has red eyes, something cool happens. Sue me.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. Actually, this wasn't the scene. This was setting up the scene. Let me take my upvote away. I'll wait for the scene.
Hey, good job right there. Look at that actress. She looks terrified.
Jack!
She really looks terrified.
All right. And this is when she goes into the story that you just mentioned. You know what's funny is her human form looks so much like
less evil,
like way less evil. Like, it's the same actor. It's the same actress, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, her human form looks like sort of like benign. This is the scene right here where she's like gets taken over.
You know, it would have been interesting to show how, like, I mean, I know we're just doing a backstory, but it would be interesting to see how were they containing her all this time, the changeling all this time, and then all of a sudden the changeling gets the upper hand. It would have been interesting to see how that happened.
Foxhound for $1.99. But has anyone asked Vatic, what is a woman? I don't think she knows.
You know, it's funny. The changelings woman, man. I know there was something that goes back to DS9 that talks about whether they have gender or stuff like that. It was kind of complicated, but there were apparently, some sort of gender identity.
I mean, wouldn't they be like the definition of they, them?
Yeah. The Great Link, absolutely.
Like, changelings is the definition of non-binary.
Yeah, I think you're right. It should be, yeah.
I mean, it should be. In fact, from now on, when someone says they're non-binary and their pronouns are they, them, I'm just going to assume they're a changeling. It makes sense.
Brian, changelings aren't real.
Fuck, really? Damn it, bro.
Q, changelings.
25 years. 25 years. God.
Yeah. Star Trek isn't really the future. Just
no. Yes, it is.
All right, I'm not going to die on that hill with you. Let's keep going.
All right. I'm going back and go back here. Okay. Sorry, Shane blew all that already. So
Well, regulators are failing. You were just slow on it.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right. All right, this is the part you're talking about. When and this, I'm upvoting this moment with LaForge when he's talking to Data.
Yes, me too. Upvote it, please.
Yes, and how you talk about how it saved him, you made him better. It was.
I mean, this is like we said, the emotions. Like, we didn't get to see. I mean, Geordi was a little more emotional of a character back on TNG than some of the other characters. Like, we got to see his frustrations and some of the things, like some of the personal things he went through. Mm-hmm. He wasn't afraid to wear his emotions on his sleeve, but this is like even more advanced. Like, we never got his true feelings about Data. I mean, he shares it here. When you died, he's talking to Data through Lore. I love this. Lore's looking at him, responding to him, but he's talking to Data right through Lore.
Right.
Trying to reach him, saying, you made me a better man. It killed me when you died. I'm a better father because of you. I mean, like, dude, like, this is so emotional when you think about all the journeys that they went on together, all the time they spent together back in, the TNG days, and when you think of that relationship and then how, we actually get a resolution of how a character feels about the other one in a deep, meaningful way. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it was LeVar Burton, some of his best acting so far I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, since Roots, 100%.
Yeah, he really, sometimes in TNG he came off as a little whiny, right?
Maybe even better than Roots, bro. This might be his best acting.
This
ever.
is like his best. This is the best I've seen this actor. Really, really well done. Really good stuff. And I mean, Brent Spiner kills it too. Like that cold.
I mean, he's
stare.
just totally as Laurie's like, I don't care about anything you're saying. You know, it's very, yeah.
It's like almost like these guys have had 30 years almost to perfect these characters, and here we are again.
I wonder if that's the case.
I wonder if that's the case, Shane. Man, them getting this like last romp, that's gotta feel so good.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure the money's good too, whatever, right? But like imagine after all this time, like one more time, I get to finally perfect this character.
And you can see it. Like you can see that was what they were thinking. Like this is my chance to put a exclamation point on the legacy of this character. Mm-hmm. And they all like just went for it.
Yeah, so good.
Nobody mailed it in.
No one. That's when the force fields go up. Now, this is the scene I'm talking about, I think, right? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jack takes over Sydney's body, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, he totally... His eyes go red, then her eyes go red.
And she fights for him. He fights for her, which was awesome. He
does the movements on his side, and then she does them, because she would have died. I mean, that was his way of saving her life, because she's done.
That is so cool. Like I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like I'm trying to think of like, is there another movie or TV show that did this? Like you can see the person. Like I can't.
Marvel. Well, yeah. So there was a character in the Marvel movie that came after Thanos. What was that called again?
After Endgame.
After Endgame. What was that movie? The about the
Black
7
Widow?
or 8. No, the 7 or 8 Marvel people that were.
Oh, the Eternals.
Eternals. So Eternals actually had a character that could mind control people and make them do things.
Yeah, I don't like that movie. I don't even remember that.
Well, but that's the other time I've seen it done. So.
Oh well, this was really rad. Yeah, she was definitely gonna die. He takes over her brain or whatever, and he basically fights through her. It's great, really cool, really.
I
cool
thought it was awesome. Upvote for me too. It was so great.
Yeah, really rad scene. And this is when Data is finally starting getting control of his body again.
Yeah, he did a really good job, like, you know, switching over, going back and forth from lore to Data. That was really great.
And Sydney even asked Jack, "Were you in my head?" And he's like, "You gotta trust me."
Yes, yeah.
I would have a hard time trusting him after that, even if he saved my life. I'm just being real.
If somebody took control of your body and was able to do whatever they wanted, that would be troubling, to say the least.
That'd be sounds problematic.
Right.
The formula they're exposed to contain Thelium-847. We can track them. All right.
Yeah, so that's important. So apparently whatever experiments were being done on them gave them something that now, and this is foreshadowing, you know, I think, about, you know, a way for them to do what Beverly said earlier in the episode, which was let's use their uniqueness to find a way to defeat them. Right. And now we're seeing one of those options happening in real time.
Yeah. All right. Now we get this Shaw moment.
Shaw was taking out changelings, and then the 2 Starfleet personnel next to him get shot. You know, I don't know if they're killed or injured or what.
Dude, this moment I was like, no.
I know. I was like, right.
Yeah, I was screaming at the TV, bro. I was just so concerned because like he was still gonna chase after these. Like he's way outnumbered, clearly outgunned, and he's by himself. And I'm like, no, turn around, Todd. Go back to the turbo lift.
Well, he ended up in the turbo lift. No, he ended up in the turbo lift.
He ended up in the turbo lift. That was the wrong place to be, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, they got her.
Yep, they got the drop on him. All the changelings they took over the bridge. And now Vadic says open a channel because she's going to talk to her crew. You know, she's
right because the Titan now belongs to her.
Yes, the Titan is now mine. She even calls herself the captain. What are some of the other things she says? It's very interesting. She talks about how she's going to. Yes, she anoints herself the captain of the USS Titan. She addresses the ship and notifies the crew that she'll be taking Jack Crusher where he belongs. And Jack will learn who he truly is.
All right.
Interesting. That project that was happening to Vadic and the other changelings during the Dominion War was called Project Proteus, by the way.
Project. Okay. This is a really good. I saw this theory on Reddit too, Dore. Thelium 847, species 8472. Hello. Hello.
That's great.
That's cool. Okay. And I'm telling you, I was really concerned about Shaw. I'm glad he made it through.
He was bloody and everything. Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah. I'm glad he made it through. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. And that's it. She is now the captain of the USS Titan.
Yeah, so I love how it ended with that. It's time you learned who you are. So, we all kind of want to know who he is. So that was a good thing. So what are some of the questions that we have here? Let's see. So Vadic, of course, got transformed from the mustache twirling villain. She's a complex character. Yes. His motivations finally make sense.
That's a big deal because, for a few episodes, you guys saw me like, hey, she seems one-dimensional, right?
Right. She was just like a little bit crazy, but now we understand why she's crazy, right? We also got Geordi's heartfelt pleas to reach Data through lore. It was heart-wrenching. And like we said earlier, probably LeVar Burton's best acting. Yeah, we had this just wonderful experience. Like I said, losing Worf, Rafi, Riker, and Deanna this episode, I didn't even feel like they were gone because everything else was so good that I didn't spend any time going, man, I wish Worf was here, or dang it, I wish Riker was here. And arguably, those are the two people I love seeing most on screen. But I thought this episode was so like tight and action-packed and interesting that I didn't for 1 second feel like it was slow to where I could even stop to think about it. Right. What about you?
No, yeah, I had the same feeling. There's a lot of information, but it was still really good. And I have so many more questions. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm raring to go, ready to rock.
Yes. So here's some of the unanswered questions we have left. So what is Jack's role in all of this? How can Vadic reveal who he really is? Like, how does she have that kind of control? Will Worf and Rafi show up and save the team, or is this the end? Did the changelings win? Of course not, right? Who will win the battle over the new android, Data or Lore? Who's going to win there? So there's a lot of things that we have going forward. Who's the evil talk to the hand Gordon Ramsay? Yeah. I want to cook some steak. I don't know.
It's Tuvix. So yeah, we know that already.
Not Tuvix. We're good.
Anyway, yeah, so that's our official score is 9. Pretty good. We're stoked. And let us know what you guys thought about this particular episode in the comment section down below. And when you're on the way there, hit the subscribe button. Thank you. That's it for the review. Shane, I need literally 1 minute. Be right back.
Take it. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 7. I think we had a run where like it just kept getting better and better and better through 6. I think 7 was still a good episode. It probably felt a little bit of a step back after getting like all the ships in episode 6 and after getting like the reveal with Data and Geordi. This episode probably feels a little bit less exciting than the other episodes. But the reality is getting Vadic's story, which I think was key in this episode, and getting the Data lore thing. I think it was important to like keeping the story going because we needed a villain who was like more fully fleshed in order to kind of understand what's at stake here, why people are even fighting.
No pun intended. Fully fleshed.
Resonating with you guys. I do have in our video coming out, I do have a thing where it said something about fully fleshed, and I think I said pun intended.
Yeah. That must be where I heard it. Yeah, and that comes out tomorrow. Hopefully we can get that out, and then our Tuvix episode on Thursday. On Saturday. We'll see.
We're not doing Tuvix on Saturday. I might agree to do Tuvix, but there's no point in doing it unless you did. Yeah, if you did, I'm so sorry. That video, it would be funny, but I don't know.
You know what we should do? Oh my God. We should have, if you come to our Discord and give us your craziest theory. Okay? Give us your craziest theory in Discord. And if we have time, we'll try to use your craziest, most entertaining theory as a April Fool's video.
I like the idea of that. I mean, that's cool. Please to come do that. I like the idea of doing a Doomcock video where he's praising Picard season 3.
Yeah,
like that would actually be really funny.
Yeah, I sort of want to do that.
You could do it on Unleashed, you know, and be like,
I sort of want to do that. Okay, maybe we'll do that. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be good because you could do it for Unleashed. You could release it. It would actually be pretty funny.
Yeah, I just have to get. I have to get a Doomcock outfit.
All you need is like any mask.
That's true.
And like throw a blanket over you.
Yeah,
for your robe.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If that would be really funny. I'm writing that down right now. That's good.
But you know, speaking of Doomcock a little bit. So if you guys have been paying attention, if I don't know how many of you guys follow Twitter, Doomcock is trending again, and
faces Doomcock.
Yeah, so Doomcock's trending again, and the reason why he's trending is, I think the reason why he's trending is because Robert Meyer Burnett, you know, our brother from another mother, from the Burnett work. If you've been following the whole saga, he's been in the beginning when Doomcock started saying how terrible Picard season 3 was going to be. By the way, before Picard season 3 ever came out, he was saying how horrible it was. And I think, you know, Robert's like, look, you know, listen, when, you know, you're wrong, it's great. And when it's, you know, I challenge you to come on my channel and we'll talk about it. Right. So when Robert did that, like Doomcock totally took that the wrong way.
Yeah.
And like lost his mind and says, you're not going to tell me how to come on, that I'm going to come on your channel. I will wipe the floor with your ass.
Cock.
Right. Yeah. So
I will destroy you.
Right. He started like, he just like lost his mind. And then he started like telling people they were like cucks if they liked Picard season 3, that they were just, you know, they were basically, he threw down the gauntlet because Rob said, why don't you come on and we'll have a debate about it. So through this whole thing, Doomcock's been doing the same thing. Doomcock's been like saying, see, I told you Picard season 3 is terrible. By the way, it's not. He's been basically keeping up with the same shtick. If you notice, his videos are not getting the great views compared to his other videos about this topic.
Right.
Because nobody believes him, because it's not bad. It's not like the other Star Trek shows that we didn't like. So I don't know what happened, but Rob, something was said by Doomcock and Rob just like lost it. And he went on to Twitter and he's like, he basically called him out again and said, you know, you should come on my show. But he basically told him that he was a coward because he's wearing a mask and he has his opinions, but he won't show his face. Right. So I think he got frustrated with the fact that, and it's kind of true when you think about it.
Kind of true, you know, but millennials do not like being told to dox themselves, which I get that. Yeah, well,
I don't think there's a lot of millennials watching this stuff, but okay. And I don't think it's doxing, frankly speaking. So here, you know, to me, doxing is, here's my address, here's the dude's address and phone number or whatever. But it's saying, look, if you're going to have an opinion, and I get it, this is not Doomcock's thing. You know, he's a character, right? But if you're going to have an opinion and you're going to be so violently disturbing about it, then be brave enough to show your actual face. So like if you're a person and you're like, you know, look, screw you, I'm going to come over and kick your butt, you really shouldn't wear a mask when you do that. Like wear a mask if you need anonymity for a reason, that's fine. Now, Doomcock's always going to wear a mask, just the way he is. It's his bravado about talking about other YouTubers and other people that's kind of disgusting when he acts like that. And he's hiding behind a mask. I mean, because he is. His whole shtick, regardless of whether or not you like Doomcock, and there's a lot of stuff that he's done that's fantastic. Regardless of whether you like him or not, his mission is for nobody to know who he is.
Right.
Because he's saying things that might make people come to his house. Okay. Right. And I get it. So that's the anonymity. But you have a responsibility with that anonymity. You can't attack individuals. It's like you're hiding and attacking people You know, it's like you're hiding. Oh, I can attack you because I can see you, but you can't see me, so I'm going to attack you. It's like the epitome of what social media and the internet is today. It's like people hiding behind things, saying stupid shit that you would never say to that person in front of their face,
right?
And being really brave about it. So, you know, so Rob came out and he said a bunch of crazy stuff and frustrated. Doomcock responded. Tried to have like a mic drop moment. So anyways, all this ended up like, you know, being fleshed out. And so Doomcock's trending again. And of course, Doomcock come out and he take a bow and said, of course I'm right. And of course, all this stuff. So where we stand on the whole matter is this is the same thing as it always been. We don't know what he really thinks or believes about Picard season 3, but if he doesn't like it, I don't understand why, if he's a longtime Trek fan, like he keeps saying he is, you know, I don't understand why he wouldn't like it. Now, if he doesn't want to like it because he doesn't want to support anything that Alex Kurtzman's attached to, then I get that ideology. But you're being disingenuous if you're saying like Picard season 3 isn't good Star Trek.
Right.
You know, like I think you can say, look, it's a good show, but I don't want to support it because I think supporting it is going to encourage them to make more bad Star Trek. Like that's an opinion you can have, but you have to at least be able to say, well, it is good though. You know, I don't know. Maybe he's afraid to say it. Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he truly doesn't believe it, and we're all crazy or whatever. But I just feel like, I don't know. I think if you're a longtime Star Trek fan and you're a TNG fan, I just don't know how you don't like seeing these characters like this. So.
Right. Yeah. How do you not like it? Okay.
Yeah.
So Grace is actually Doomcock. That's the takeaway.
That'd be hilarious.
Well,
we've never seen them in the same room together.
You've never seen them. Never seen them in the same room together. We had this ongoing joke theory. Yeah, if you guys ever remember, there was a YouTuber a while ago. His name was Ketwalski. We haven't seen him in a long time, but he was very pro Star Trek, right? And he would constantly attack Doomcock.
Right.
Because Doomcock was obviously anti-Star Trek. And we had this wild theory. What if Ketwalski is running both channels?
Right. What if he's actually Doomcock? Right.
Right.
Because nobody knows.
No one knows, man.
Like literally nobody knows. Like we know everybody in this circle. Nobody knows who he is.
Right.
Like even the people who help produce his videos,
right,
like don't know who he is.
People that have like admin log into his YouTube channel don't know who he is. So
right. So
R&B. What if R&B is Doomcock?
What if Rob is Doomcock?
Rob is Doomcock. He has two like competing channels. That would be
it would blow my mind because I know like Rob very well.
The most insane grift of all time, right? I always win because I play both sides.
What if Alex Kurtzman is Doomcock?
Yeah, he's like, this is why Picard sucks.
And like he can vent his like other frustrations like when he's not at work.
Right. I might have to, you know what? I might have to start another channel where I just vent my frustrations in a mask.
You know what'd be funny is everybody would know it's you because your voice would like do something. You'd be like, oh, that's Brian.
That's 100% Brian.
Yeah.
Everyone would know immediately.
Right. Just a laugh. They'd be like, no, it was you.
Yeah. Yeah. My voice is, I don't have a good voice, but it's very distinctive. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I am pretty good. Like at certain voices, I can do some good voices. Depends on like the vocal connotation.
Yeah, no, you got it.
I'm gonna try to do Doomcock this Saturday. I think that's a good idea.
That'll be fun. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. What you do,
Kathleen Kennedy.
We don't even mention her name anymore. It's pointless.
Yeah, well, you can't say Kathleen Kennedy more than 3 times, or you will summon Doomcock. I've already said it twice, so no more.
It's like the Candyman,
right? It's like the Candyman.
Yeah.
But instead of the Candyman coming, Doomcock comes.
Yes, absolutely. So we have some more Star Trek stuff, and I think we should talk about Brent Spiner responding to Star Trek Picard spinoff speculation. So let me tell you guys what we do know about the spinoff. Okay. So far, there's nothing. So officially,
wait, hold up. We gotta set this up. I want this to be a clip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is fun. Let's talk about it. Ready? Go ahead and set it up again.
Okay, so as far as a spinoff for Star Trek, so in the 25th century, we're calling it Legacy Trek or the Picard spinoff. So far, there's nothing on that. So there's nothing official. So far they haven't offered Terry in a new show. We do know that they're moving forward with a few things, but it was interesting because Brent Spiner actually had an interview with Cinema Blend where they asked him some questions. And the thing you got to love about Brent Spiner is he really just says whatever the hell is on his mind.
He literally
like
does.
He has no governor.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what a publicist is. He just talks.
He just like, you know what? I've been on this planet for so long. I'm going to say whatever I want.
Right.
So they essentially asked him in this interview, they asked him if he'd be willing to return if some sort of Picard spinoff was on the table. And so Brent, he kicks off things with a pretty blunt truth and then gives his honest opinion. He says, well, it's not on the table. Therefore, I don't really have to think about it. If it was on the table, then certainly I'd have to think about it. I have no idea what my feeling would be right now, but probably if everybody else wanted to do it, I'd love to hang out with this group of people forever. And I will out of makeup. That's what he says. If we all got into makeup and played these characters again, that'd be delightful. So what he's saying here is from what he understands, there is nothing happening.
Yeah, it's not on the table. That means
it's not on the table.
That means no one's even considering it, at least from his perspective.
And if we're being really super duper honest, if there was something that was going to come, and we really hope there is, and if you want to help us support more Trek made by showrunner Terry Matalas in the future, in the 25th century Star Trek Legacy, something like that, go to terrytrek.com, or I think it was
change.org/ Star Trek Legacy.
Star Trek Legacy. Either way, you go to those places. Right now, we have almost 14,000 signatures. We'd like to get as many as we can. It'd be cool to like rock 100,000 signatures by the time this whole thing's over, so we can then present it to the Paramount studio executives and kind of, create a big deal. We can also get. Here's the thing: if we get enough signatures on this, that it can get media play. So we can actually get news play. I don't know if you guys saw 2 weeks ago. No, not 2 weeks ago. Last week or earlier in the week, Todd Stashwick, who plays Captain Shaw, was on LA news station. And they were like asking him questions about being in Star Trek. And one of the things they said is, are we going to get a spinoff? So you even have the news media like wondering, is there going to be a spinoff for the show? Is Captain Shaw going to move forward? So if we can get enough signatures on there, at some point it becomes enough that it becomes newsworthy, and then we can actually bring it to the level of like, a national discussion. So that would be even a global discussion, frankly speaking. Got people over in Europe. I mean, it can be a thing that gets people's attention for sure.
Yeah.
So,
but we need more signatures. We need another 20,000 signatures, guys. So get in there and do the work.
I mean, I would say, as many signatures as possible, but imagine if we had 100,000 signatures, and let's face it, there's probably several million people watching Picard season 3. And you're voting already by your Paramount Plus watches. Like that's something that's a big deal. And if you're rewatching the show, then that's even a bigger deal. Like they really like to see that. When they see you watch it once, cool. But when they see you watch it multiple times, they're like, oh, okay, well, we have something here. And I think they're going to get to the point where they're at least going to have a conversation about what's going to happen going forward. But as of right now, there's still nothing. We have 3 more weeks left, and then there's time right after the series is over. And I know a lot of people want to wait. Like, look, some people are still afraid of being rug pulled. But I think when you get to the end of all 10 episodes, you're probably going to say, like, right after that 10th episode is over, you're going to go, what do I need to do to support more Star Trek like this? And when you get to that point, just remember that petition. Remember that we're here and we're going to be fighting for this, fighting as much as we can over the next several months to get enough visibility. Strange New Worlds did it, right? They did it for Captain Pike. There's absolutely no reason why we can't do it for Captain Shaw, Terry Matalas, 7 of 9, and some of the other pieces. Now, do they want to bring back all the legacy characters? I don't see Picard. I don't see Patrick Stewart coming back under almost any circumstance. And I don't see all of the legacy characters coming back, but there is, they won't want to wrap a series necessarily around these characters, the TNG characters, but there's no reason they can't play in the world that comes after, in a world with certain characters that make it through the series, is what I would say.
Okay. That's fair. And you expertly traversed the spoiler minefield there, Shane.
Thank you.
I want you to know that. Knowing what you could have said there and hearing you tiptoe around that like a ballet dancer.
Ugliest ballet dancer you ever saw.
Fantastic. Yeah. Because,
thank you.
You know, I think we've said before, like this series can 100% continue. It's set up to do so, but it's really a matter it's a matter of, do the powers that be want it to?
Yeah, that's the real question. And it has a lot to do with the plans they have moving forward. Like, we're going to find out here shortly that there's a Starfleet Academy happening. It's been in the works for a long time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next, right?
We're talking about that next. And it has to do with how many shows that they can carry, how much money they have, right? Paramount's got a problem right now. And we're going to get an announcement on April 5th. So what day is that? Because that is Star Trek Day. Yeah, next Wednesday. We may have to do some sort of special stream for that, bro, if we can. I don't know.
Is it next Wednesday?
The 5th is next Wednesday. There's going to be an announcement. We're going to get actually here, which I'm a little surprised that this.
Sorry, there's going to be an additional announcement?
Starfleet Day or Star Trek's Day is April 5th.
First Contact Day.
I'm sorry, First Contact Day, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to get something on that date.
Fascinating.
I mean, but we're already getting this. I thought it was going to be the Starfleet Academy, and I thought it was also going to be the other series that we've heard so much about.
Okay, so they announced. Okay, so this is actually wild. Okay, we need to full stop here. If they're actually having an event on First Contact Day, like they have before multiple years, they're gonna announce something. They have. Yes. They've done that the last 4 years. Announcing a week early the renewal of these other shows and the Starfleet Academy series. Do you have something better than for First Contact Day?
I don't think they officially announced the Starfleet series. I think a news outlet found out about it and got ahead of their skis.
Oh, goodness
So if you
gracious.
look at the article that we're about to discuss, it comes from, well, no, actually StarTrek.com did put it out.
StarTrek.com. Okay, so so we're going to get into that. Before we do, let's finish this topic. And we're going to talk about that. But announcing, StarTrek.com announced it. Jesus Christ. Announcing something like that when you should be saving it for a week later, either you have something bigger to talk about, or you have more to talk about at the very least, or you're just really bad at your job. Jesus. Right? One of the two.
I don't know. Maybe nothing official is coming next week. I heard, in the article that came out a few days ago before this, it talked about April 5th being a day to announce things. So it's possible that this is the announcement and that we don't get anything on First Contact Day. That's possible because there's no official event. If you look up First Contact Day, April 5th.
There's no official event?
2023. I don't think I'm not seeing a StarTrek.com or some sort of advertisement.
No, there isn't.
So StarTrek.com is doing something. It says here, so they are, StarTrek.com is doing panels, live streams, and exclusive news. No, that's 2021.
Yes, yeah. There's nothing actually. They're not doing a First Contact Day.
So it's possible they're just not doing an official First Contact Day and they decided to put this information out. It does surprise me because Kurtzman just did an interview with Trek Movie, or with one of the two, and he basically says that more information coming, and they talked about new series and also limited mini series. Right?
Yeah, that's so weird though. Like, their mindset is so old Hollywood. Like, we don't have money, so we can't do First Contact Day. You don't have to have a red carpet event, a 15-piece band, a special DJ, and 50 TikTok stars in attendance. You can just do a live stream with you could do a live ready room where you talk about stuff and have actors that you've already contracted to do this, that you've already paid.
But remember when Star Trek Day was in September, and remember how poorly that went over?
Was it in September?
Yeah. So like if they can't get like the main event down properly. Yeah. Star Trek Day was September 8th, 2022. Really? If you can't get like Star Trek Day down and done right, how do you expect First Contact Day to be as good or better? Like get the main one right first. They had, I know their intentions were good, but it just felt really messy and all over the place. And they had weird guests and it was like a fashion show or something like that. It was like strange.
It was horrible. Hey, if you recall, that was our first run-in with CBS ID when they manually struck the channel during the live stream because we were talking negatively about it. If you recall,
that's right. I mean, it was. Listen, I mean, it was a negative thing.
It was bad. It was a bad event. I mean, it was horrible. There was nothing of value in that event. But here's the deal:
we are all. We want to celebrate Star Trek Day.
Yeah,
and
that wasn't even a celebration of Star Trek. That was like there was like a DJ playing. It was so weird.
It was weird. Yeah,
it was weird. It was like modern art where everyone's like talking about how great it is, and you're like, "What the F is this?"
Well, and I feel like that's these events that they're having like Star Trek Day. It's like they're tailoring the event to a certain Star Trek audience.
Yeah, 100%.
Like fan audience. They're not like saying like, what is our overall fan experience going to be? Like, instead of having little elements inside the Star Trek Day for each fan group, so to speak, like let's say you have like a younger generation fan experience at Star Trek Day, cool, or you have a panel that's for that, but you also got to have a panel for like older fans. And I mean, Star Trek spans 50 plus years.
Yeah, it can't be 2 hours of discovery,
right? You can't just focus on the millennial or the
Zoomer,
Generation X, Z, whatever.
It was
Zoomer.
Generation Z. It was all Zoomer
focus
based.
on them. You got to think of the rest of us, and you need to have things for the rest of us.
They literally had like TikTok Zoomer stars there that didn't even know what Star Trek was. Like one of the hosts was like just a TikTok Zoomer, and you're like, I don't know, why is this person here? What do they have to do with Star Trek? Nothing. But what drives me nuts is I'm realizing that there's two different days here. So First Contact Day is not special. They don't do anything on those days.
They did something a couple of years ago though.
Well, the day they do things consistently is the anniversary date, which is Star Trek Day, and that's in September. Yeah,
so that's when but they said, I think the article came out that Alex did was announcements are coming soon, and I think they assumed, wow, with First Contact Day coming April 5th, that would be a great day to let people know things. So it looks like the news maybe have just came out a little sooner.
I mean, they should have held it for First Contact Day, regardless.
Maybe,
even if they're not doing anything, they should have like that should have been a news dump. Because think about this: there would have been natural, organic traffic and First Contact Day hashtags, regardless. So you could have co-opted that and amplified your message.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it would have been smarter. Maybe the reason they're not waiting is maybe there's more stuff coming. I do think that they pick their days for a reason. And I do think there are more announcements coming of different events and things coming up that we can't really talk about yet. There definitely are, but we can't mention it publicly yet. What we can talk about is the fact that this is not the only show that's being worked on right now. There is, you have Starfleet Academy, which is coming, but Kurtzman also said in this interview, he's still excited about Section 31.
Oh, God.
I don't know why
he won't let it go.
That bone is continued to be chewed on. It's been years now, And if they're really truly considering doing a Section 31 show, I just don't know. I just don't know how they plan on doing that moving forward. I mean, you've got Michelle Yeoh, who's now a global superstar, who she's going to cost so much money. You know, I know they probably had her under contract. I don't think anymore.
Yeah, they had her under contract, but that doesn't mean, like, the contract doesn't mean that they already paid her. That means that, like, she has, like, okay, so the contract goes both ways. And I'm not sure about her particular contract, but I've seen other contracts where they go, well, you need to do these many seasons of TV, regardless of whether it's Discovery or Picard or Section 31. And you have, you also have the, creative input or whatever. So, like, more than likely, they still have her under contract for another season of TV. And if she doesn't come back in Discovery season 5, then they can hold that over her for Section 31. However, they still have to pay her. Just because the contract says this much, that doesn't mean that they're not going to pay more for it.
Well, you're not in a contract forever. So time's gone by, and for whatever the plan is, here's the deal. There is more information now with Section 31. So where would they pick up Section 31? Like, it's been our impression that they would pick up Section 31 back in the TOS timeline, Discovery timeline, before they go into the future. Like, that's where the Section 31 stuff happened. And when the announcement of a Section 31 show happened, it was during the first 2 seasons of Discovery when that was being created. Since then, of course, Discovery went to the future. Giorgio is now gone back to the mirror universe, right?
Right.
And so, there's like some confusion as to what would happen. Now we've got Picard season 3. We see lots of Section 31 stuff. We see Daystrom Station is basically like the dark base of Section 31.
Right.
With all kinds of things in there.
All kinds of tchotchkes, yeah.
Could there be a Section 31 show coming that goes forward Star Trek in the 25th century? Maybe that Terry Matalas is a showrunner? And maybe we get the characters from Picard season 3 as it goes forward. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility, I guess.
That'd be fascinating.
If they were thinking about it. Now, officially or unofficially, we haven't heard anything about that. So if that is happening, I think I just made it up right now. But,
right.
It sounds like if you're going to get some Section 31, that's the way I'd want to see it happen.
I mean, I'd rather have a Section 31 than freaking... All right. Well, I'm sorry. We're going to save it.
Well, I mean, we can go into that next, but are we talking? We're all over the place here. So I'm just kind of regurgitating information. So there's also rumors of a limited series coming that possibly could have some legacy characters. So there might be, Janeway is very popular thanks to her work in Prodigy. There has been some rumors of a Janeway maybe 7 of 9 thing, like a mini series. So there has been some rumors of that, but nothing solidified for sure. Now, what's interesting about that is that you do see that Kurtzman in his interview said that they're thinking about doing like mini series, like short episode stories, which, by the way, if they do that, it is financially better for them to do like 3 or 4 episode mini movies, basically.
Right. Like Star Trek shorts on crack.
And I don't know who wouldn't want to see, a Janeway 7 of 9 story, especially if it's handled by Terry Matalas. He has his pulse on these characters, on this legacy Trek thing. So if Kurtzman were to do something like that, then I think he really should hand it to somebody like Terry Matalas. And not go with an unproven commodity that maybe doesn't have a good track record. That would be dangerous with these legacy characters. So
right. All right. Well, I guess we'll know more next week. That said, what do you guys think about all this in the comment section below? And we're going to move on to a little bit of Starfleet Academy.
I got a super chat here from Orville Nation. What's up, PJ?
Orville Nation!
Only sub-level 32 for me. Sorry, Orville biased. Oh yeah, we all love the Orville too, PJ, and thank you for the super chat. We really appreciate it. And hopefully everything's going okay with your YouTube stuff and with your Twitter stuff.
It's not going okay with Twitter. He's still banned off Twitter, man.
I know we retweeted out again saying, hey, what's up? There needs to be there's too many people lost in the cracks over technicalities in this world, and it ruins people's lives. Now, I'm not saying it's ruining his life, but he put a lot of work into his Twitter. So
yeah,
not cool.
It's not cool. Not cool at all. Okay. So we are going to be talking about, wait, let me set it up. We're talking about Starfleet Academy. It's official. It's official. We are getting a Star Trek Starfleet Academy. The series has been ordered at Paramount Plus. And you know what's really funny, Shane, is I'm starting to see some traction from one of our older videos here. Because 4 months ago, we talked about this.
We did, yeah. Well, we knew it was coming, actually. We knew they were trying to do one. Something else we also knew before we get into what this is that Star Trek 4, at least one of the scripts, they were planning to do like a Starfleet Academy movie.
That's
for
right.
Star Trek 4.
Yes, yeah. There was going to be like sexy CW style, like Riverdale.
No.
Yeah, it was going to be a Starfleet Academy like Riverdale kind of thing.
No. We said that's what they would probably do. That's not what officially was coming.
Okay, it wasn't official, but
yeah. So no, they wanted to do a Starfleet Academy, which probably would have brought back some of the characters from the movies. You know, the Kirks, Chris Pine and some of the other characters. But what happened is the streaming service already had this whole Starfleet Academy show lined up, and there was what from the rumors that I've understood is that there was like some sort of a battle and the movie lost.
Yeah, Tilly won.
Yeah. Now we don't know if Tilly is going to be in this upcoming series. Before we speculate on it.
There was a hot dog eating contest, and she blew Chris Pine out of the water. That skinny guy couldn't handle the pain. And we got a super chat from Yo Sideman, $5. No message. Thank you, Yo.
Thank you, Yo. Appreciate that. So let's go into let's talk about what they've released for Starfleet Academy so far. So here's what we do know. A joint announcement has been made by co-showrunners and executive producers Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau. So we'll talk more about Noga here in a second. But first, here's what they wrote. Admission is now open to Starfleet Academy. Explore the galaxy. Captain your destiny. For the first time in over a century, our campus will be reopened to admit individuals a minimum of 16 Earth years, so 16 years old, who dream of exceeding their physical, mental, and spiritual limits, who value friendship, camaraderie, honor, and devotion to a greater cause than themselves. All right, let me stop there for a second because this tells us a few things. Starfleet Academy is open for the first time in over a century. This means that Starfleet Academy will definitely happen in the future during the current Discovery timeline. Yeah. Okay, because we know that Starfleet Academy had been shut down, I believe, in season 4, and Tilly basically comes back and they like reopen Starfleet in some way, shape, or form, right?
I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, so we know, so this tells us right here that it's definitely happening in that timeline. So this will not be a Starfleet Academy in Kirk's time, Picard's time. It's going to be in the future. Individuals a minimum of 16 Earth years. That tells you that we're going to see some very young characters.
Yes.
It tells us that. It makes me believe that we're going to see a very young person show if they're saying 16 Earth years.
I don't want to wait for my life to be over. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing CW theme songs right now.
Really old song. Yeah, so this might be the Riverdale. It could be. Now, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this could be that. I'm assuming, my assumption is this, that Discovery is ending and they need a show to speak to that fan base. And this is the show that will do that because they're going to have probably similar types of characters. Likely, my guess would be that, you know, if she's up to it, and I don't know if she's up to it because I know she's struggling to some degree. If Tilly is up to being in the next show, then that would make sense to have some sort of a crossover with Discovery. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had Discovery characters somehow involved in this Starfleet Academy show. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that'd be a great way to, and what drives me nuts is like the same way we feel when we see like Worf show up for the first time, right? We're like, yeah, Worf.
Yeah. Like
when Stamets turns around, oh, hello, Tilly. Like they're going to act like that is like one of those moments in the show that is special. And we'd be like,
well, for you, it's not going to be special, but there's a bunch of people it will be, though.
Well, a bunch of people for 4 seasons and a few years of history, like they're going to act like it's on the same level of like 35 years of television. It's not the same thing. We are not the same.
For them, it is. You know, for them, it is. I get what you're saying. For us, it's not. But it's like, you know, look, I'm not about belittling anybody else's experience watching Star Trek. If they love Discovery, I don't dislike anybody for loving Discovery.
No, you can like whatever you want, but
right.
But the cameos are going to play that way, and I don't feel like it's earned. And I can feel that it's not earned all I like, whether you like it or not.
The show may not be for you though. So
but can it be earned in four seasons of television?
I mean, to the level of like having Bones show up on a bridge? No, because that's different. But for the people who like, for a lot of fans, Discovery is like the only thing they know of Star Trek. Like a lot of people started watching Star Trek at Discovery. So imagine if you're watching the original series and all of a sudden TNG comes around and Bones is walking around the ship. You're like, oh my God, that's Bones. Well, oh my God, that's Stamets. He's on blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I mean, to that respect, I can see some people.
It's not the same though.
Will I feel that way? No. Will you feel that way? No.
Even that moment with Bones and TNG was earned. It was earned. Decades.
How was it earned? Because TOS had 3 episodes and some movies.
Yeah, but it was decades of fans. It wasn't 4 rush seasons that were already ordered at season 1 because Netflix paid for the first 2. Like, no offense to Discovery fans, if you like it, that's great. But like the show didn't pay its dues. The show goes forth and acts like it's on the same level of these legends when it hasn't paid its dues. It forced its way into a franchise, a fandom, tried to change it from the inside out, and then when it failed, luckily Paramount, the bill was already covered, so they popped another season out. And like I'm not even going to pretend like it's on the same level as writing alone is bad. It's just bad. The writing, if you're a fan, that's great. But it is in the Star Trek universe. It's not its own thing. This isn't a reboot. If this is a reboot where they bought the name Star Trek and they're starting a whole new show, fine. Do whatever you want. You are existing in the same universe as the last 65 years has. So you have to play nice. You have to follow the rules. It never did. It wanted to act like it was legendary out the gate. Literally coming out of the gate acting like we're on the same level. Didn't earn a thing. Didn't follow the rules. Didn't follow the canon.
Right. I would say Star Trek marketing. Yes. Paramount marketing. I would say everybody wanted it to be the flagship show. I don't know if the actors and the people making the show came out and said, we are the same as all other Star Trek shows have ever been. I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that that's the way Paramount wanted it to be seen for sure. Like that was the goal. Like, this is our flagship show.
Right.
They didn't realize like they got themselves hooked into a show that was doomed to fail from the beginning with greater Star Trek fans because the guy who was creating the show had a vision that was inferior to the legacy of what Star Trek really is all about.
He literally wanted to change. He wanted to make Star Trek in his own image, and this was his shot. This is his shot. This was his chance to do so.
Right.
You know, and it was telling when Jason Isaacs was like, "Hey, you don't have to like it. You're gonna watch anyways, you nerds." You know, like that kind of stuff. Like they just don't have the respect required to handle to have that status.
Well, the funny thing about Jason Isaacs saying that is he's not even a big Star Trek guy at all.
Right.
So that means he had to hear that from someone else.
Right.
Someone else told him.
Right.
They're going to watch anyways.
Right.
You know,
right. That's a great point. Oh my God, that's actually a really good point. He admittedly has no interest in Star Trek, which means someone that did told him that, and he re-said that because he probably thought it sounded cool.
Or not, yeah, or someone who was in the it's one of the studio people, one of the showmakers. When somebody said, "Look, don't worry about the old fans; they're going to show up." Well, guess what? The old fans showed up for a few episodes, and then they immediately got angry. So here's the deal: is like, yeah, you're right. Star Trek fans are going to show up, but if your Star Trek isn't good, or doesn't live up to the expectations of your fan base, and is doing like weird things, then they're not going to stick around. And we're not saying like you're trying to make it different. Like, I don't think that anybody who came into Star Trek, whether it's Akiva Goldsman or whoever's making the original first seasons of Discovery, they thought they were making great Star Trek. You know,
and then that's a fair point that I don't think people bring up enough. Like, you can criticize the show and the writing and the canon and all that, but the people that, like the writers and the regular people that were making Star Trek, they were excited to be making Star Trek. They thought they were making, they didn't go, and this was, you already said this, but they didn't go, I want to make a show that's going to be intentionally hated.
Right. Yeah. No, they didn't do that.
No, of course not.
When people said, well, what do you think about the old fans? What if they don't like it? And then that's when Jason Isaacs, and by the way, that fool was the only one who said it. Nobody else would say that. I'm not sure why he felt so inclined to speak those words, which got William Shatner pissed off.
Yeah, William Shatner was like, "Excuse me?"
He's like, "What, hold my beer?"
Right? Yeah.
You know. And so you're right. So yeah, so we all know, that Discovery has not been, for legacy fans, it's not been a great show. Now it did give us Pike. So, and some of us are like, some people like Strange New Worlds to some degree, right? It's a better version. I would still say it's not, I would still say it's not the level of Picard season 3, but it is definitely a better version of Star Trek.
Yeah, it's better version of Star Trek. You are just mad what they did to the Gorn and that they killed Hemmer. You can't get over that. I get it. I understand.
Those are problematic, and I also, I mean, would like Pike to captain a little more than he does.
Right. All we want is Pike to captain more than he cooks.
Yes, that's priority.
So right now we're at like 70% cooking, 30% captaining. Let's swap those over.
Right.
Let's go 30% cooking, 70% captaining. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be good. So I mean,
and if I had a personal request, more sexy Spock.
Okay, that's fair.
Just a lot more sexy Spock, please.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, stop making this weird.
I'd watch an entire series of just Spock on Vulcan being sexy Spock.
With his shirt off?
With his shirt off, yeah. And T'Pol. Oh my goodness. Oh, woof, beautiful.
So I'm waiting to see what season 2 looks like. I'm maintaining optimism for season 2. I'm a little concerned about how Paul Wesley's going to fill in as Kirk in season 2. It makes me a little nervous, but I have an open mind about it, and I'm hoping that it's good. I'm also hoping that Discovery season 5 somehow is a lot better than season 4. I really hope that they did everything that they said, and they said they're embracing like the TOS formula, I guess is the way.
Episodic.
I don't know if they're going episodic completely, but they're definitely using elements of it. I think if they get away from like, making mental issues like the centerpiece of the entire series, like that's a problem. Like, get on to telling good Star Trek stories and we'll see what happens. So there's that, but then it's gone. And now we got Starfleet Academy. And I do think Starfleet Academy is going to be a continuation. Just knowing how the studio works, I believe it will be a continuation of whatever Discovery is doing so that they can maintain the fan base that they've cultured. Because think about it. If they get rid of Discovery and they don't replace it with something that's along the lines of that fan base, there's nothing for the fan base unless they come on over to Strange New Worlds, which they might be watching that as well. And there would be that. But I just feel like they're going to try to stay there. If it is true, we get some short limited series with some of the legacy Star Trek characters, then that might be a way to try to, bring in, older Trek fans as well. So yet to see how that's explored. We should probably, you want to go through the rest of this thing here?
Yeah.
So this is part of their announcement at StarTrek.com. So the coursework will be rigorous. The instructors among the brightest lights in their respective fields, and those accepted will live and study side by side with the most diverse population of students ever admitted. Okay. That tells me right there. The coursework, the instructors are among the brightest lights in their respective fields, and those accepted will live and study side by the most diverse population of students ever admitted. I'm not sure why you need to put that in there. So there's a couple of things. There's a red flag here.
It's a virtue signaling, bro.
If you felt like you needed to put the most diverse population of students here in order to like tagline and get attention of Star Trek fans that all they care about is infinite diversity amongst infinite combinations, then that's not the right reason to do that. We all assume that Starfleet Academy cadets are diverse. They're of all shapes, sizes, and colors. They're of all genders and races. They're of all they're aliens. There's humans. There's all kinds of stuff.
There's green people, diverse. People with antennas, people with prosthetics and tails. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Do you need to say it's the most diverse? Are you virtue signaling here?
In 2023, looks like you have to say that.
I mean, I'm just saying, we all know that's the case. So are you saying it because so that could be be prepared for, but look, it shouldn't be that big of a surprise. If it's following up Discovery is built on diversity. Discovery is about diversity. That's, kind of what that Star Trek show is about.
That's about mental health.
It would not be a big surprise if Starfleet Academy was a continuation of the Discovery model. And there was that IDIC, as kind of like the guiding principle. It used to be that Star Trek's guiding principle was hope, right? And somehow IDIC has become like the guiding principle of Star Trek. And, when Gene Roddenberry first started doing TOS, he definitely saw the future as being diverse because in the 1960s, Hollywood was not diverse. The United States culture was going through terrible struggles with race relations and all kinds of things that were happening at that time. It was a really tough time. And so he showed a future of that. But I want to be very clear. Gene Roddenberry did not intend for Star Trek to be about diversity. It was not about that. It was about, the future hopefulness of humanity being able to all get along. Somehow there's groups of fans in Star Trek that have kind of locked into the fact that Star Trek is only about diversity.
Right.
Okay. Star Trek by its nature is diverse.
Right.
It's in nature. You don't need to hijack that and make it about that shit. It's about diversity. Go back to the original series. That's a diverse crew, folks.
Right.
So look, that's already a messaging thing. We should just assume that with everything that we do, okay, as moving forward. And we should focus on Star Trek being good, hope, the future of humanity, good guiding, strong principles, right? Captains, first officers, and Starfleet people who are trying to forward the agenda of peace throughout the galaxy and hope and goodwill towards all things, right? That's should be the focus of it. While at that time you're telling good stories with good, strong characters that are interesting science fiction, and you've got nice little sciencey thing in there that all Star Trek fans love. That's what it should be about.
And military decorum. I don't want to hear a bunch of Zoomers screaming at their instructors.
Right. And, Brian Fuller said something.
You don't even know how I've gone through today. We have a super chat from Orville Nation. I'm with Brian. Orion Green Chicks base series. Yes. Yes. Hashtag Green Grannies. Bring it back.
Yeah. We talked with Kirk Acevedo about doing a Star Trek underworld show where, can you imagine the Orion slave trade and all that stuff? Yeah.
That'd be great.
But going back to, there was something that was said a while back by the guy who created Discovery, Brian Fuller, and what he said was he thinks, and he wasn't being mean about it, it was just like his thoughts. He's like, well, people on the left, you know, they're all about like the diversity of Star Trek, and the people on the right, they're all about like the military fascism of Star Trek.
Right.
That was like his comment. And here's the funny thing about it. It's like Star Trek fans aren't about like one or the other. At least they shouldn't be. They should be about the idea that it's all together.
Yes.
Like Star Trek TOS was a military organization. There was a hierarchy. There are people at command levels. There are people who had to follow orders. Sometimes Kirk had to order people to their deaths. Like it had to happen.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that was about, because that's what the military is. And it's a science fiction show at the same time. And it's about diversity, and it's about hope. It can be about all those things. I don't think people on the right necessarily said, oh, I only like this because it's militaristic. That's not what it is. And I'm sorry, if people on the left only liked it because of its diversity, then what the heck are you doing watching science fiction?
Right.
You know, so it should be a combination of those things. So what Picard season 3 has done is it's continued the military tradition with the respect for military as it should be. And it kind of follows those protocols of hope and all that good stuff. Now, Strange New Worlds kind of has a little bit of that problem. There's like this kind of loosey-goosey, I'm in charge, I'm not in charge, you know, so, you know, there should be no doubt that Captain Pike is in charge of his ship.
Right.
100%. Just as there should be no doubt that Michael Burnham is in charge of her ship. Period.
Right.
You know, that's the way the military works. The captain's in charge. So, I mean, I think as long as they continue trying to tell those stories in those ways, then there's definitely possible hope. But this whole thing that like we need to focus on diversity as opposed to just recognizing that Star Trek is diverse by nature and that's the way we should make Star Trek, then maybe that's what we should focus on.
I entirely agree. And I think that's the best place to end this clip.
Yeah. If you want to know more about this, you can actually look into it. We should have probably, instead of ending it there though, we should probably, because we did say we were going to talk about Noga Landau.
Okay.
The co-showrunner.
Well, not. Yeah, it's right. Let's look at Noga Landau.
So Noga Landau, if you look at her IMDb, she is a writer. She's known for the Nancy Drew 2019 series. So she did, she was a writer creator of Nancy Drew, which I did not see. She did 49 episodes of Nancy Drew from 2019 to 2022. She also did Tom Swift for 10 episodes. She was a producer for 8 episodes on C, which I didn't see that show because Apple doesn't like me and won't allow me to watch their stuff. But I know the Salty Nerd guys covered it. Did you know if C was any good with Jason Momoa?
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal, though. I can watch Jason Momoa, like, working out and be entertained.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not a good...
so
I'm not
she
a
doesn't
good
have...
judge.
She doesn't have a lot of...
I'm sorry. I did watch The Magicians, and it was horrible.
Okay, so she doesn't have a lot of experience, but what this looks like to me is it's a whole lot of young person stuff.
Right. Nancy Drew was okay, but I only watched a few episodes.
Okay, so I'm just, yeah, I mean, not good or bad. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying seems younger directed. So it looks like she's going to have a pulse on probably a younger audience. So you can expect that Starfleet Academy, as we already said, is going to be that way. I haven't seen Tom Swift or Nancy Drew. I remember Nancy Drew from when I was a kid in the books, but I don't know what it was about. If it had elements of, wokeness, I guess, if you want to call it that. If it was it a good story? And I can't say if maybe if you guys have seen it. It said CW, so it came from the CW. What were you saying?
Yeah, most of this is CW based.
Okay, so she's a CW writer, and now she's going to be a showrunner on Star Trek. And now she's going to
make CW Star Trek. No, and if you look at Nancy Drew, Tom Swift, The Magicians, it's all in the same CW sort of Riverdale.
Well, and that's an audience that the Star Trek that Star Trek producers want to cultivate. They want a CW young audience because they're the people who are growing up and are going to be around for a while. So I get that they're having a target audience. Like I said, doesn't bother me a bit if they have there's plenty of Star Trek for everybody. If they continue making shows for everybody.
And that's the ticket, Shane.
Yeah.
Like
not every Star Trek show has to speak to me.
Right. Make whatever you want, but like you got to have something for us, the legacy fans that got you here.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
you can't ignore 70 years, right? And just go after the Zoomer crowd, right? You can't do that.
And you also need to, even if you have the Zoomer crowd and if you're making that Star Trek, you still have to respect canon. Like you still have to like consider what's happened before as a showrunner. Maybe you're young and maybe you're like, well, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to make my Trek. Well, you can do that, but you need to respect the canon that's come before and don't like wreck it. You know, we can't get into a situation where nobody understands what the actual canon of things that have happened. We don't want to confuse this universe. It's been wonderfully constructed over years and years and years. And we have this idea of how it's supposed to work. So just all we ask is that if you're show running a show, that you respect what's come from before. I think that's key.
My question is, why does that have to be even said? Like,
well, because it hasn't happened. So we have to say it because they didn't do that.
I know, but like, let's say you got hired to make, Ant-Man 4. Are you just going to ignore the first 3 movies? Like,
well, no, but in that case, there is only 3 movies. In the case of Star Trek, you've got 50 years and you've got hundreds of episodes.
Okay, so say Avengers, 15 movies, like 20 movies or whatever. Are you going to ignore all that and do your own thing?
Well, 15 is different than 500. I mean, there is, there is an element of difficulty. Like nobody should be running a Star Trek show that isn't prepared to be like all in on the information. Like you should not be a showrunner of a show if you don't understand the IP. And I get like you have to have new showrunners and young people come in, and I really hope that what happens here is that Noga comes in and she's like, look, we're going to respect Star Trek. Yes, it's going to be targeted at young people. And yeah, a lot of legacy fans may not want to watch it because it's got a lot of teen angst involved in it or whatever else is going on, but we're still going to tell Star Trek stories. And I got to tell you something. If you do that, even if it is kind of like that, I mean, look at the Wednesday show on Netflix. A bunch of old people watch that show.
Yeah, I love that show. And I told everyone 6 months before it came out how great it was going to be.
Okay, well, congratulations, sir.
I mean, I just said I saw the writing on the wall, bro. Jenna Ortega.
No, you saw the actress, and then you said, "Yeah, that's going to be a great show." But so what happened was
because she is actually Wednesday in like real life.
Yeah. So what happened was it was true to the nature of the character, and it worked out, and people came and watched it. And the same thing will happen for all Star Trek shows. Did I want to watch Star Trek Prodigy? No. You give me Janeway back in there, and all of a sudden we've got all the Starfleet ideals of the Federation, and I'm like feeling hopeful and like, oh my God, what is this feeling I'm having about this cartoon? Yeah, it's great. I'm going to show up. And they can do the same thing for a Starfleet Academy show if they respect Star Trek. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you are totally right. And with that, hit that subscribe button on the way to the comment section to let Shane know that he's crazy.
I am crazy, just like Vatic.
All right. And with that said, we are going to be going into the members section. Sorry, I forgot to tease that a little earlier. I apologize. But
we got it. Yeah, that was it, huh?
That was it. We're going to members section. We're going to be talking about Quantum Leap, and we're going to be a little more connected with y'all. We're going to be a little more communicative with you guys and talk about stuff you guys want to talk about. And what's going on with Quantum Leap? There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with Quantum Leap right now. This last episode was insane.
But come over to the member section so that way, because we don't do a lot of chatting with you guys here. We definitely, take care of all your super chats and everything. But if you want to like just in the member section, we're just talking with the people in the member section. So come on over if you want to hang out.
Okay. So if you want to know how to get there, it's pretty simple. And if you've been here before, you know how this goes, but I gotta say it. Either you click the link in the description, you click the link I just put in the chat, or you do literally nothing and you wait for it to take you there. If you can't come and you can't be a member, totally get it. Understood. That's cool. Our review on Podcast Prime is coming for this last episode is coming out tomorrow. We're probably going to have something for April 1st, hopefully. And then again, Raw Rant on Monday with the legendary Todd Stashwick. And one last super chat before we hit the members section from Insane Hippie Insane. You expect CW writers and showrunners to stay true to Star Trek franchise. You are sadly mistaken. You did see what they did to Batman, right? I did. And I expect it. I don't think it's going to happen. But I expect any writer that comes into a franchise with 500 episodes to be aware of what those episodes are. I expect that. Now, does that mean they're going to? I don't think it will happen.
Well, yeah.
Like that old saying when you go, don't do your best, do my best.
Right. Well, and here's the other thing, Insane Hippie Insane. I don't expect it, but I really hope it. Like I'm the writing's on the wall for some of these people, but I'm going to give this person a chance. They haven't done anything yet. You know, I'm not, my expectations are super low because, you know, we've been down this road before, but God, I really hope she does. And I get surprised and I'm like, hey, you know, I don't really enjoy watching necessarily what's going on here, but it's Star Trek and I want to watch that. So it could happen.
Yeah. Okay. And one more super chat from Dan Candy. Picard episode 7 is the one you can skip on the rewatch.
I mean, it's up to you, Dan. I mean, you know, if you watch it through one time and you're like, okay, I got it, then that's it. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that I really like about the episode, I love seeing Tuvok. Wouldn't mind watching through that scene one more time. Interesting watching Jack take control of Sydney. And I love the scenes with Data and Geordi. You know, so for me, there's rewatchability. And listen, if you want more of this, then we should rewatch it if we can. You know, I have no shame in putting that sucker on loop.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Okay, that said, we are going to go to the member section. Thank you so much for being here today and joining us on this wonderful pickle party Unleashed Thursday, whatever we're calling it. But we are going to the member section. Be sure to check out the review tomorrow on Podcast Prime. Salty Saturday on Saturday and Raw Rant with the legendary Todd Stashwick on Monday. Love you guys. See you in the member section.
Love you guys.